We're live. Welcome everyone to the 48th episode of Playtest This. Man, we're almost at 50. We have with us, as always, our star-studded panel of designers. But first, let's introduce our guest designer, Ty McDonald. Ty, why don't you introduce yourself?
Yes, I am Ty. I have designed Boarding Party, which is what you'll be playing today. I just got back from Gen Con.
Oh, nice.
I got COVID.
Not nice.
No.
So just coming down off of that. But
Glad
yeah,
you're doing better.
I live in Northern California. Small town. We have a Walmart. You know,
All right.
we just got a Costco, so floating on cloud nine.
Yeah, moving up.
Yeah, so that's about it. Anything else you want to know?
No, that's good. That's good. Let's see. Who do we have on our star sub panel tonight? Trevor, introduce yourself, my friend.
Hello, I'm Trevor Olson. I am working on several different games, but mostly Alcatraz Escape the City. We also have a Costco.
Oh, we do you? Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah. I feel like we're bonding. So
Yeah. Bonding over Costco.
Costco
I
bond.
remember when Walmart moved to my small town. It was a big deal. It was a
It,
really
it
big deal.
actually is a big deal to get a
Yeah.
Costco.
Well, we didn't have a Costco.
Whoa,
That was
whoa.
that was too fancy.
Yeah.
Sasha, who are you?
I'm Sasha, and that's me. I am a designer. I was on last week
I think so.
with my game Devcoat, and
Feels
I'm
cozy.
working on several different games, but that's the one that I'm sort of pushing forward the most at the moment. And I love designing. I teach game design to middle school and elementary school kids, and I am always excited to play test new games. So looking forward to it.
Awesome.
And I do not live that close to Costco.
no. Okay.
Yeah, they're not that close.
Well,
right?
maybe someday. You know, maybe
If you try real hard
yeah, manifest enough.
and put your mind to it.
I think you should get sponsorship for this one, Evan.
Sponsored by Costco, makers of lots of stuff at cheap prices.
I should have said In-N-Out Burger. I'm kind of regretting that I said Costco. Oh well.
I am Evan Halbert. I have After the Empire is my first design, which just recently ducked underneath or within the top 1,600 games on BGG, which I'm pretty stoked about. And then I have 87 more games coming out that are all going to be awesome if you buy 1,000 copies each. So I'm kind of relying on everybody out there. 1,000 copies each. Yeah. Okay, good. And then all of the games will be good. Okay, welcome everybody. So why don't you give us a teach on Boarding Party?
Okay, here we go. Boarding Party. Yeah, so if you don't know already, it's a strategic resource gathering game that also has sort of a zany twist on action programming. So the only game like it that you'll have to tell me if you've seen anything like this after I explain it, but it kind of a mech versus minions sort of thing, but not really. The idea is that each one of us takes on the role of one of the galaxy's top 4 space pirates. The thing is that the universe wants to know who is the greatest or the galaxy's greatest party captain. So we've all been invited to sort of converge on this one starship in space to loot, shoot, party it out, and decide who is the galaxy's ultimate party captain. Okay. How do we do that? Well, we do it by completing party objective cards. So if you look at your mat, you'll see right in the middle of your player mat, you've got 3 slots for party objectives. Now, you only start with 1 unlocked, and you'll see that you can unlock the second one with 1 loot box and the third one with 2 loot boxes, which we'll come back to. There are 2 different types of party objectives for you to complete. You'll see Sasha has one of the types, as well as me, which is it has the face of one of the other player's minions. and you'll see that it has one balloon next to it. What the heck is a balloon? A balloon is a party point because it doesn't make sense to have victory points. So if you, at the end of your turn, you were to have taken out that player's minion, collected it to the little storage area on the bottom of your player mat, you would then turn it in at the end of your turn and you would get a party point. The other type is, you'll see Evan and I think Trevor both have a bottle set. So these are two different types of beverages. So same thing, if while roaming the ship you collect those two beverages, then at the end of your turn you would turn them in and you'll see that those are worth 2 party points, have 2 balloons. Okay, there is another way to get points. This isn't going to stay on the board, but you have a little reference thing on the bottom of your mat that we're going to change. It's going to be a little bigger, but it mentions this as well as the board here. Damage a player to get a loot box. It's just an item. We'll come back to that again, but you notice the second one here. Damage a player with a higher score to gain a loot box and a party point. So that's a little bit of a catch-up mechanic, and it's something to remember as we play the game. Okay, so how do you make this sweet magic happen? How do you get all this stuff? Well, that's when you come over to your action mat, which is the second mat that you've got, the grid. And what's going to happen on your turn is you're going to start with a free action of placing a minion. And we'll cover that a little bit later, but if you just flip your marker over, you'll see that it's called a command line and it has a sequence 1, 2, 3. So on your turn consists of you simply placing this across 3 of your action cards. So you can place it up and down, you can place it right and left, left to right, you could do it diagonally across the middle, any which way you want. And then on your turn, you would perform those actions in sequence 1, 2, 3, right? And then after that, you would simply score any party objectives that you can, and then play would go on to the next person. One important thing to note, this is designed so that when you play a set of 3 actions, you just leave it here and flip it over if you want the reminder to place a minion. But the reason you leave it where it is that you cannot perform the same set of 3 actions or its inverse on your next turn. You have to pick a different command line. Does that make sense?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so what are the icons? It can look a little complicated to people, but there's really only a few different types of icons in the game. And what I always tell people is that the entire action mat only applies to your captain and the room that they are in, except for the ones with radios. Okay, so I'll give you an example. If we take Sasha's character here, Ananda, and we put her in this room, if Sasha was playing this line right here, you see the first icon he would play is a movement. So you see your captain's in this room. You could move to any adjacent room on the starship by using that action and going through a passageway. Does that make sense? So you can move here, you can move here, but then that would be over. And you'd move on to your second one, which actually I'm going to explain the radios last, but you'll see the third one is a damage icon. That just means if your captain is in a room with an enemy minion type, you can choose to defeat that minion, collect it to your supply, and score it at the end of your turn if you have it. And if you don't, you just hold on to it. Or if there's another captain in the room with you, well, then you could do what we talked about here on the board. You could damage them to get a card, a loot box, or if they have a higher score, you would also get a point. This middle space here is an either or. So these are just a couple of special actions. You can get them in the deck as just a single icon. But the top one is a teleport. So if your captain is in one of the 4 teleport spaces on the ship, so that's all the corners basically. It's here, here, or the 2 in the front of the ship. Then you could move using that action to any one of the other teleport spaces. This triple bottle one is just letting your captain pick up one of any type of bottle from the room that they're in. Okay, radios. Like, oh God, this is getting complicated. Here's the deal. Radios, they just let whatever minion is pictured there do one of the things we already discussed, except for movement. But that minion is performing that action in the room that they're in. So you have a little conversion chart here on your mat if you want to reference that later. But basically, to give you an example, again, if Sasha was playing the second action, you'll see Sasha is the Robo-Spartan minions. So you would look at the map, Sasha, and you'd be like, well, I have a Robo-Spartan in this room, and I have one here, and I have one, where is it? Right here. And so basically what he could do is he could damage a minion or a captain that's in one of those rooms. He could also choose one of those rooms and take a bottle out of it using the minion. What's interesting is we're going to talk in just a second about how you actually get all these cards, but you'll notice if you look over here in the vending machine, like these two cards here, they'll have, this one has a Party Marine minion on it, radio, and this one has another Robo Spartan radio. So what this means is you can get other people's minions and slot them on your action mat, and that would let you, we call them a hacked radio or hacked comm, and you could control those person's minions instead of your own. So, okay, let's see. So how to get all this, how to get these cards. So there are two different ways. If you move into a room, so not the room you start in, but when you move into a room with a loot box, which is just these blue cubes, you can pick up a face down card from the loot box deck right here. You just immediately flip it over, it's public. When you do that, you can slot this card anywhere you want on your action mat, as long as you haven't played that action this turn. So you could even slot it on one that's covered by your command line. Let's say Sasha moved, he did his first action, but he hasn't done his second two yet. Then you could go ahead and slot it in the second or third slot. You could also put it anywhere else on your map that you like. You can cover the middle space if you'd like to. The only rule is that once you slot it somewhere, it has to stay there. You also don't have to slot it. You can just put it in your hand down here or off to the side and slot it any other time that you would like to. Okay. The other way, the other thing about loot boxes is, remember I mentioned you only have one party objective to begin with. Instead of picking up a face down card, you can also unlock the second party objective slot, and you just immediately flip over a new objective and put it there. And then if you're willing to save up two, you could just collect one cube here when you get one, and when you get two, you can unlock the third slot if you want all three objective slots unlocked.
Do these cubes go away when you go into there and do a loot box?
Yeah, so you just move them off the board anywhere, and then you either unlock that objective slot or you take a face down card, basically. Yeah. The other main way that you get cards is if your captain moves into a room with a sentient vending machine, which are these two in the middle of the ship. So you see there's one here and there's one here. The very first thing you do if you start your turn with a vending machine, or in a room with a vending machine, or you move into a room with one, is it's a forced action. So you immediately then would take one of these cards from the vending machine over here. So it's just a way for you to get a face-up card, basically. And then when you do that, let's say, again, you wanted this first card, the Corkscrew Marine. You'll see it has a little symbol on the bottom right corner there. That's just letting you know that as soon as you take this card, the vending machine is going to move to that space. So like this one's one square, and I've tried to categorize these by colors. You'll see the back of the ship is the orange circles 1 through 4. And then the middle of the ship is the blue squares 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the cone of the ship is the green pentagons 1, 2, 3, 4. So if you took that Corkscrew Marine, you would get the card, you could slot it, do whatever you want with it, but then the vending machine would move to that space we talked about. And you would just take one of these dispenser slots on the bottom of the vending machine and just go ahead and put it in that room as well. So it's a way to sort of repopulate the map. It does mean that you do have control over how the vending machine moves, where it's moving, as well as what's sort of being spawned around the ship. So if that matters to you, that's something you could think about. I always tell people, if you don't really care what goes there, just quickly grab one of those slots and toss it into that space. And then you just move on with your turn. So, okay. In a second, I could tell you how to spawn on the ship here. You do track your points here on this point tracker. The board has the end goal is when we hit this last call space, which we put at 10 points. So you can move that around, but today we're just playing to 10 points. What happens is we finish the round, and then it triggers what we call last call or final round, alcohol reference, right? We just do one more round after that, so everybody gets the same amount of turns, and then the game will end with the player with the most party points. If there's a tie, it's the player with the most slotted cards on your mat. Any questions? There are some other little nuances, but we could probably address them as we go. Any questions?
I think I have the gist. I'm sure I will maybe get something wrong or have a question about something once we get going.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. All right. So then I have the first turn here. We're using this little smiley face as a first player round marker. It doesn't move in this version of the game. I'll have the first turn every time, and we could discuss that later, why that is. But how the game starts is just go ahead and take your captain, and you can put them in any one room on the ship that has one of your minions, except for the 2 vending machine spaces.
I guess, should we be looking at what we
Don't look.
don't look?
Throw it.
Never look.
Don't look. Don't look. So this is the purple bottle, and this is the orange bottle that I need for my.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And I guess I do have a quick question. So there's a supply of these? Do these?
Yeah, so that's the one thing I haven't explained yet, and it's because I was going to do it at the beginning of my turn, spawning a minion, since I do have the first turn. The very first thing you do is, again, place that minion. So you just go get one out of your supply when it's your turn.
Mm-hmm.
So like I'm going to take one of my party marines, and it's the same sort of thing as the vending machine. You just look to the card on the same row as your supply. So you'll see like mine is a 3 circle, which means that I just place my minion in the room that's on that card.
Okay.
If there's already one of your minions there, you can put it in any other room of the same color, and then you would discard the card and we put a new one down. So
How did you know to put it in the 3 circle? Where is that?
because the card next to my supply has that icon on the bottom right
Gotcha.
corner. Yeah. So yeah, I'll go ahead and go. Let's see. I am after an alien minion, so I'm gonna see this one with the vending machine. Okay, so I'm gonna start with a movement, and I'm gonna move in here. And the first thing I'll do is again interact with the vending machine. So I'll just take this top card, make it easy. So then the vending machine moves to the 1 square because that's what's on the card.
Okay, sorry, you took a card from where? And
That's it
why?
from the top here. Yeah, it was
So
this one.
This
can
is
take
the-
any one of these from the vending machine.
Yeah.
So this is the vending machine.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, and this is the resupply for the vending machine.
Yeah. So I get to take one of these now and drop it in the space the vending machine went to. I kind of see it as like they're running around the ship, and wherever they stop, a bunch of stuff pops out of them, you know. So that's sort of just an incidental thing that you do, is just pick one of these dispenser slots here and put it in the room.
Do these
Okay.
refill, or they?
So since you can only interact with the vending machine once per player in a round. So instead of interrupting people's turns even more by restocking them, that's the one thing that we do at the end of a round, would be to refill them.
Got it.
Yeah.
End of a round.
Yeah. So then I'll perform my second action here, and you'll see I now have a card that has 2 icons on it. So you can, if you have a card with 2 actions on it, you can perform them in any order. So I'll go ahead and pick up an orange bottle from the room that I'm in, because that's on the card. And then I can radio a party marine. So let's see, there isn't one with other minions yet. So I'll just take, I will just take a purple bottle out of this room because there's a marine in there. And then my last icon, my third action, is over the damage. So I'll go ahead and remove this alien, brick alien minion from the room that my captain is in. So again, since now my turn is over, I would score. You do score if you have the stuff. So I will go ahead and turn in this 1 minion back to the supply to get a point. And then you replace, and if you can score what you replace, you can keep scoring in your turn. But I can't, so the play would go clockwise, so then it would be Trevor's turn.
Uh-oh.
Is that too soon?
Yeah. Just a couple questions. So
Sure.
the balloons that are on here, is that just 2 generic party points, or does the color of the balloons matter?
No, the color doesn't matter. It's just the fact that they're balloons. I was just trying to make it more zany, fun, I guess, by having them be different
Okay.
colors.
Just
So,
checking.
yeah.
Okay, so let me just recap what you did so I understand. You went
Sure.
into you went into a room with a machine,
Mhm.
and then you are able to, because you're in the room with the machine, you get to interact with the machine and do one of these 4 cards, or take one of these 4 cards and slot it wherever you want.
Yeah, as long as it's not on a slot you've played an action on this turn. Yeah.
So is it really dumb for me to start over here because I can't get to a machine?
No, because they do roam the ship sort of without you necessarily being able to control where they are at any given moment, but you can still usually get new cards through attacking other players or just moving into rooms with loot boxes, especially at the beginning of the game.
Okay. Okay, so if I run into a room with a loot box, like if I'm in a room right now, I can't do anything in this room. I have to have, like, if I had this pick up a bottle and it was the first thing I was doing, I can do something, but I can only do what's on my grid, right?
Right. Yeah.
Of what I'm programming essentially. So
Sure.
I'm gonna program pick stuff up. At the moment, I'm limited to moving, interacting with a minion somewhere. I guess is this always destroying him? What does this say?
It's a
Shooting a
it's a
minion or a
damage.
player.
Yeah. So you could take out a minion with it that's in the room that your captain's in the same room as your captain. You could also damage another captain. So for instance, I'm in the room next to you. I moved the vending machine, but you could damage me and get a point and a loot box using that system as well. So you can always and even if the another captain doesn't have more points than you or you're tied, you can always damage other captains to get more loot, more cards, so that hopefully you have more options as well.
Okay, well, let's try this.
Okay, so we'd start by placing your minion. So you're the
Oh, you
mechanoid.
place a minion every time, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you're the mechanoids right here, the little red guys.
If I place a minion, or maybe you said I can't do that. Oh no, I already have one here. So if I activate this minion guy, I mean, I know I'm placing a minion right now, but if I activate this minion guy, can I activate this?
No, so they can't trigger the vending machines.
Okay.
There is an asymmetrical version of the game. We're playing the simplest version of the game. There is another version where you can do some stuff like that, but not in the version we're playing today.
Okay. So the minion, if I activate a minion, I can really just pick up stuff that's in that area.
Or
Yeah,
shoot.
the game starts with you having a lot of options with the minions. The sort of geography of the board will sort of change as we play, and that won't always be the case, but
Okay, let me put a minion here.
so they do have to go in the they do have to go in the room
right.
of the card next to them.
Right. So they go into,
Green 3.
sorry, I've got new glasses, so
Yeah, this is easier in real life.
yeah, sure. All right, where did I put them in there? Did I just get
So-
lucky? No, I didn't get lucky.
So well, you've already got a guy there. So what that means is you don't double stack. So you can put them in any other green room that doesn't have one of your guys.
Do I have one there? No, let's do that. Okay.
And that does replace that card, which I'm doing for you, but just so everybody knows, that's how I kind of keep the market healthy, is it replaces those cards.
Mm. We'll take that off of that. All right. Well, let's try this. So I'm going to start by activating a radio guy somewhere. So I guess I'll take this. And I just put it on my track.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I'm going to move. And what does that say? Whenever I move, I can what? I can bomb. Oh, but I have to have a bomb thing to do that. Okay.
You got something fancy?
Now, if I move into here, I automatically get to take another blue thing.
Yeah, so you just move the loot box off the board and you could pick a face down loot box card, or you can unlock that next party objective slot and just flip a new party objective card into your second slot.
I like to party.
Okay, cool.
So, quick question. These
Yeah.
party objectives, if they're fulfilled, do they come off of your board?
Yeah, just move them to the side and you immediately replace, and you can score anything you replace.
Got it. So it's not like we can have a maximum of 3 objectives that we can complete. It's we have options based on the
Yeah,
number of slots. that we
exactly.
have.
You're unlocking the potential of seeing, 2 instead of 1 forever and
Got it.
ever for the rest of the game. Yeah.
And
Um,
things that you're storing in here, if you have a bunch stored up, and let's say I finally get the one to complete this, I complete this, I flip one over, and I already have the stuff for the next one. Do I immediately complete it?
You keep scoring. Yep.
Okay, until my
Yeah.
stuff is okay.
Did you get your third action, Trevor? Your second radio?
no, Sasha interrupted me.
Yeah, yeah.
What a jerk.
Classic.
I've been interrupting myself enough. Sasha had to take some of the weight. Okay, so now I can activate another guy. So I could just take this purple. Is that the color I need? Yeah, I can take this purple bottle and then cash these 2 things in, score this, and take 2 points.
Yep.
And then I just go over here. Whoops.
Yeah, sorry, the point icons are not ideal.
There we go.
But
And
that's
then
perfect.
that is me, and then I'm gonna flip this and put it off.
So you just leave it where it was, and that's how you know not to do the same row or its inverse on your
Okay.
next turn. Yeah.
Sure.
And then you can always flip over a new objective. If you had more stuff, if it was something you could score, you would score it. But obviously, since you can't, we can move on to Evan.
Okay. So the first thing I do is put this out here, but it can't go there. So instead of putting it there, it has to go in the same type of place.
Mm-hmm.
Same color.
So I will go here.
Okay.
And
then again, that card gets replaced.
And
then you could
now I choose my thing.
Oh, that gets replaced after the placement of the minion?
if the minion's already in the room and you have to put it somewhere that isn't on the space the card indicated, you replace the card after you're done placing your
Got
minion.
it. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm in this room. Okay, so and shooting a person is good, right? Maybe.
I would do it.
Okay.
So
I'm gonna go like this. So I will walk in here. Radio.
So first you get that loot box. Again, if there's a loot box or a vending machine, you just resolve it first.
Okay.
Perfect.
And then my radio shoots this guy, which scores this thing.
Oh, only score at the end of your turn. There is a reason why,
Okay.
which we can get into later. But
Okay. All right, so I shoot that guy. And then I shoot. Oh wait, I wanted to shoot Elizabeth Yates, so I moved this way instead.
oh, that's fine. You didn't do shoot. There's no loot box in that room.
Oh.
But you
Right. I
can
messed
still
up.
get two things if you go. I know.
That's
I
fine.
realized
I messed up.
exactly.
I'm good.
Yeah.
Oh, but I started in a room with a loot box. Does that do something or no?
So no, that's I know it's a little weird. That's the one exception because otherwise all the stuff is kind of wiped out. So the rule is just that on the board too soon. So the rule is just you have to move into a room.
Okay.
With a loot box.
Okay.
Yeah, not the starting ones.
Okay. Okay, so I shoot Monanda. How does that work?
So you still get a loot box. You always get a loot box for damaging a player.
Okay.
You could put a cube on your 2 if you want to save up for the 3rd slot, or you could just take a face down card over here.
And that does go into my Tableau.
Yeah.
So that'd be a face down card. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't take
take
a face up, take a face down.
Yeah.
And it goes into my Tableau. Okay, I'll do that. Sweet.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Womp.
Okay. And then you just score since you can't do anything else.
Okay, so I did do this, which scores this. And then I move that in. And I don't have anybody else to score, so that's 1 point.
Uh-huh.
1 balloon.
And then the bottles, it doesn't matter that they go back, but we do need to put people's minions back because the supply can run out and isn't, supposed to. So they have to go back. But that looks like everything. So then we'd move on to Sasha.
Couple questions.
Okay.
Can minions shoot themselves?
Okay, yeah, no. You don't have a requirement for you don't ever need your own minion.
Yeah, but if I get
I could see you wanting to do that, but we're not
Walkie-talkie for
encouraging the seppuku in boarding party. So
yeah, just checking.
Yeah.
Can I cover up my center spot?
You can, and you didn't used to be able to get those actions back. You can get them in the deck. Just know that you never get the either or again.
Okay.
If you get them from the deck, it's just going to be one of them.
Can I place my diagonal Oh, I need to change my degrees. Sec. Like this.
Yeah, okay, I meant to mention that earlier. No weird Tetris, no Tetris L's, no corner roos. It's just diagonal across the middle
Okay, got
or
it.
up and down, left
Got
and
it.
right. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd only get 2 actions, but yeah, okay, got it.
Yeah.
Cheater.
Okay. Did I have another question? I think those were my 3 main questions. So first thing that happens is I'm going to be placing one of my minions in my this spot here, so 4, which would go here.
Yep.
And this does not get replaced because there's not another one of my minions here.
Yeah, exactly.
And then as far as how I'm placing this, I think I'm doing.
Oh, you only replace the card if there was another one of your minions there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it didn't happen for Ty's first turn, and I was confused as why it happened later.
Okay.
And yeah.
No, it's only if there's a duplicate, because I figured we didn't need to replace the cards all the time, but it keeps them from being too stale.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I think I'm doing this. And then I'm gonna run it, get some vending goods.
Okay, so you'd immediately do the vending machine.
And I think I will take this one and I'll place it here.
Okay. So see, it would move to 3 blue.
Yeah, the vending machine moves to 3 blue, which is just right here. And
then
then
you
I
just pick
choose
a
one of
slot.
these piles.
Yeah.
Does anybody mind if I change the vending machine bases to black or a different color just so I can see
No,
the...
please do.
Oh,
Okay.
sure.
It's just a thing with me of having to tilt the screen. It's purely a TTS thing.
I hadn't even thought about that, so that's a good idea.
Non-player. Yeah, player color bases wouldn't hurt, but that's probably also just a TTS thing.
Yeah, I don't know why I didn't think about that. Makes sense.
I guess.
So Adam Lawson is in the chat, and he said, "Hi Ty, we met at Gen Con. I was one of the rowdy nerds who was advocating for you to get the extra table. Glad you made it back safe and sound. Excited to see great things from Sentient Games."
Hey, thank you. Yeah, that table was a lifesaver. I had a list of all my tables and the times, and I drilled it into my head real good. I was like, I'm ready. And then I told myself the night before I had a table at the wrong time, so I missed the slot.
Oh no.
Yeah. But thank you, because he helped me get a table
Nice.
later, so that was cool.
Nice.
When you're paying that much for a table, it's a real heartbreak
Yeah.
to miss one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Whoa.
I'm trusting that Sasha isn't cheating because I haven't been.
You can't.
Yeah, I don't know what he's
you
doing
can't
over
trust
there.
that guy.
So I had 2 walkie-talkie
Yeah,
things,
yeah.
so I killed 2 different things, and then
Yeah.
I took the purple.
I doubt
Yeah.
it.
It looks legit. It looks legit.
It doesn't.
And then that is my turn, I think.
Okay. All right. Okay, so you can't score, yeah, and you only have the 1 party objective. Okay, cool. So then the one thing we would do, when I'm playtesting this with people, I try to remind them to flip over which of course I didn't do, but everybody else did, place their command line marker, because people forget to place their minion. Okay. And then we just would refill the vending machine, use these little vending machine dispenser refill cards here. So like I flip one over, it says to put in a loot box and 2 purple.
Okay.
And then we flip over another and it says to put in 2 green. And then we would continue. So it would be my turn first. Now, what happens if the vending machine starts in the same room with you? Okay, here's a couple of extended rules that we're getting into now. If the vending machine starts in the same room as a player, they have to interact with it before they even place their command line marker. So I could put the card I choose anywhere, including the first action that I'm going to play this turn. The thing is, when it's an either or, when you're being forced to interact with the vending machine, I cannot also take the loot boxes. Like if I moved into this room, I couldn't take all the loot boxes in the room and interact with the vending machine. What ends up happening if you do that is that the player has access to all the goods that drop there. They get a card from the vending machine, and then if they also get all the loot,
Got it.
there's no reason, right? They've sort of emptied it out. But anyway, so I will interact with the vending machine, and I will take. I'm gonna take forward this card right here, the mixer pants. So the vending machine is gonna go to 3 orange, and I'll just drop off. Yeah, fine. I'll drop off this stuff. All right, and after.
So the vending machine that you interact with is not part of your actions. You just automatically do it.
Yeah, it's sort of interacting with the vending machine. It's just a forced interaction that interrupts your turn, and it's not part of your action line, other than maybe you had to move to get to it or something like that.
But if you
So-
start your turn on a vending machine, then you do it.
Yeah, it just keeps it moving. So, all right, I will place one of my minions following the rules we discussed, and I will play this bottom line here. I'm going to order my minion in this room to pick me up an orange bottle. I'm going to pick up an orange from my second card before I move, and then I'm going to move to this room. And I will use the loot box in that room to just open up a new party objective slot. And then I will have, let's see. I'll just have this party marine pick me up a, I'll have this marine pick me up a green bottle. Okay. Yeah. So I can score this one for 2. And I can score this one for 2. So it's 4 points. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's all I can do, so it will go to Trevor.
All right. Hmm. I guess. So I'm in a zone where I can use this transporter.
Mhm.
So minion.
Right. What is 1? Actually, see which one it is. 1 blue. So I place it anywhere in blue.
Huh?
And
that
I'll
right?
discard this card for you.
Oh, thank you.
Maybe I'll put it here. I'm guessing strategy-wise, you always want to be near a vending machine.
A lot of people have had success just sort of also focusing on other captains as a strategy, but yeah, I mean, obviously the pro to the vending machines is you can get face-up cards. Let's see, are
I'm
in.
just thinking I've put myself in a position where I can't get to another captain or a vending machine.
So you want me to, can I give you a, I don't want to play for you, but can I give you a tip?
Yeah, totally.
You could play this diagonally this way across your map, which
Where
would let you
I'm,
play the board with one of your minions. It would then let you teleport to this corner space, and you could then move into the space with the vending machine. What that's going to let
okay.
you do is you would get a vending machine, you get one loot box, and you'd also get something from your minion.
Yeah, I was looking at that. I forgot that you can play it in the opposite direction, so that's good.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, so yeah, when you're activating a minion, you can only take what's in there, right?
It's whatever room your minion's in. Uh-huh.
Right. So like this guy, for example, all I could do with this minion would be take that bottle. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. Or attack. He could attack the other minion, which
He
you
would
do need. So
he would have to be doing in a. So how would that work? How can the
so
minion?
the radio, again, you have a little chart here. We're gonna make it bigger, but on the bottom of your map that basically just shows that the radio, you radioing a minion allows you to tell them to do damage. So that could be to a captain or another minion, or they can pick up any one bottle in the room that they're in.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I can damage another minion.
Yes.
Okay, so I can go get the army guy that I want, or whatever his name is.
Yeah.
Okay, so I put my minion out. I flip that. What I want. I'll do that, and then I can take this guy and I just put it on my tracker.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, and then I'm gonna do the. This is me. Yeah, so I can just teleport to any teleport spot
Hmm.
and then move in and
Yeah. So you first that first loot box.
And
oh
Do you
right,
want
there's a loot box there.
do you want to save it to save up for the two or the third party objective, or you just want a face down card?
And these are the same cards that are coming out in the vending machine.
Yeah.
And do I just draw it and decide if I want to place it?
You just draw it and immediately flip it over. You can wait to slot it. You can slot it right away.
Okay. Oops.
you can even place it on the space that hasn't happened yet.
Or I can place it anywhere else, right?
Yeah.
Um, I mean, I do need some green beer. Is there any in there?
Yeah.
Forget.
Me too.
Let's do that then. And then I take this green thing. Is that right?
So
Yeah. Yeah.
is it? Are these in any order?
Any order. Mhm.
Got it.
And then still have a run, which I can go in here and interact with the vending machine and take something.
Take something.
I'll take. I think I'll take this one. Yeah, I guess I will place it.
So I'm just going to move the vending machine for you. It's going to go to 3 a green. And then you just need to pick one of these dispenser slots to drop off there.
Um, let's do. This one.
This is right here.
Oh, it goes into that one spot.
It does, yeah.
Okay. Because it's beside that.
That's the card.
That's the card I took.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I gotcha.
Yeah.
And then I can place this if I want to. Interesting.
Yeah, you could even slot when it's not your turn.
Okay. I'll leave it then. And you can slot it literally anytime, like right when I need it, I can slot it in.
Yeah, as long as you haven't played an action or part of an action on a spot on a card,
Okay.
you can put it anywhere that you haven't done that this turn.
Okay, cool.
So you just score your one party marine, and then I think you're probably good to go.
One balloon. Okay.
Okay. All right.
My turn. So my minion's gonna go to circle 3, which does not already have one, so it just sits there. So if I ended up in this room, I would choose one box or the machine. Is that right?
Yeah, you can kind of scroozle people over because the vending machine's a forced interaction and you can't do both. If it was your second time going to a vending machine, you could take the loot because you can't interact with the vending machine. But if you go there for the very first time, you are not going to be able to take both things.
Could I choose to take the box instead of the vending machine?
No, and the reason for that is that when people do that, it doesn't move.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And I'm currently here. So I shall let's see. I just can't do the same set, but I can overlap a card, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay, well, vending machines seem really good. Because it gives you one of those cards with a vending machine, is that right?
I'm sorry, what's that?
When you get the vending machine, you get one of these cards.
Yes, you pick a face-up card.
Seems good. Okay. So I placed my minion. And I'm going to do this thing. Like that. So I will move in here. Radio this guy to shoot that guy, Elizabeth Jates, which gets me a loot box and a point.
Oh, and I didn't say this earlier. You can only attack each captain one time per round.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That certainly makes this a lot more challenging to use.
Sure. Yeah. There aren't as many of those on the board. But yes. The minions start stacking up more in rooms towards the end of the game. So it's not entirely useless, but
Let's see. So I moved, shot you, and now I'm gonna teleport into here, which will make me interact with that thing, which I will take this card here. Whoa, whoa, womp.
So there's no negative for the person getting shot. It's just you get a positive.
Yeah, we used to have a version of the game where you could block out a space with a damage on their action mat, but it was a little bit too much take that, and you could really sort of destroy, someone's game. So
Yeah. And the machine goes somewhere.
goes to the 3 green pentagon because that's the card you took.
Oh, it's already there.
So yeah, so same rule as the minions. It can go anywhere of the same icon that isn't that space or where the other vending machine is.
And I choose.
Yep, and you choose.
Okay.
And then just drop off some sweet loot in there for us in the dispenser slot.
Okay. Womp.
Yep.
All right, and at the end of my turn, I do fulfill this guy for 2 points. And theoretically, that'll be it. Yep.
All right, Sasha.
Okay. Purple. Could I just change the base colors of the characters really quick? Just
Yeah,
to make
sure.
it easier for me to see who's who.
Sam says you're a great person to shoot in any game, Ty.
Oh, me? Yeah. Me and Sam have a long-standing board game rivalry. Yeah. He's on the show quite a bit, isn't he? I know he had a couple of his games on
Sam?
here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And I assume this is the case, but we can only travel between rooms through these, right?
Yeah, through the passageways.
Or teleporting through the teleport things. Got it. Okay, well, first thing that's happening is I'm placing a minion. I'm placing this on the 4, which I already have that there. So my choices are between these two. I guess I will go with this. No, this one. And then
I'm just gonna replace the card for you.
Thank you. Okay, I like that. I think I'll go like this. So I will I guess I'll start by shooting purple with the minion.
Okay.
It gives me a point, right?
Yep.
And a loot box. I'll take a loot box from the top.
Nice. Right back.
And I will place this here. Oh, here. I think. I'm not going to place this one yet. I'm going to do my other stuff first and then decide. I will take this. And then I'm doing movement. I will move to here. Do the thing. Take this. I think I'm placing this one here.
Oh, nice. And what was that room? Two green?
Yeah, sorry. 2 green.
Yeah, so 2 green has a vending machine, so you could choose to move it to any other green.
Any other green spot. I'll move it to here. And then I guess these 2 balls are also going in there. And then, so I did that movement, and so now I'll move again. I'll move to here and hit that same vending machine.
Yeah, so you take the loot. You don't interact with the vending machine twice. So you take the loot box.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Could I, if it was the other vending machine, would I be able to, or is it only interact with the vending machine once?
It's currently just one, period.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
So that might change how I'm going to
Excuse
do things. I guess I will start by shooting this.
Yeah, it makes sense.
And then so if I started my turn in a room with a vending machine, am I interacting with it?
Yeah, if it doesn't move, that'd be ideal. You'd get to start by picking a card before you
Okay.
even.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll try that. So then I take this loot box that I can't do the vending machine. And do I want to get a random card or do I want to unlock party objectives? I'm gonna get a loot box card from the top. Okay.
Okay. It's that card I know you love.
Yeah. Let's see. I mean, I think that's the end of my turn.
Yeah. You just score. So you got at least one. So we'd see if it would shuffle through.
1. Move up once. There.
Yeah.
And then I do not have this one, so.
Yeah. All right. So I just go ahead and repopulate the vending machine dispenser.
I can do that if you want to start your turn.
Oh, sure. Yeah, thank you. In the physical version, there's plenty of bottles, but in this one, you might have to take some of the ones we spent. But okay.
We also copy and paste them.
Yeah.
Since we're promoted.
All right. Placing my minion.
Supply.
There's one there. Let's see. Let's do this. Yeah, and then I will pick my command line. Green Spartan.
What would happen if you had a minion in every spot?
So then you get to pick anywhere on the ship.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. Just trying to decide what line to do.
Alternate win condition. I mean, honestly, I feel like that would be hard, but could be cool.
Oh, is what now? Oh, like having
a minion in every room.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
We've taken over the ship.
Yeah, I like that. Zany. Okay. Yeah, this is tough. Okay. Okay, here's what I'm gonna do. We're gonna do this one, I think. So I'm gonna pick up an orange before I go. I'm gonna move to this room. And I would get both the loot. I'm gonna say.
Wait, you get 2 loot? I thought you could only take 1.
So you clear out the room, and any loot boxes there when you move in, you would take.
Got it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would not have opened that up for you. How about that?
Yeah, sorry about that. I will take 2 cards, face down cards. And I'm gonna take oh, actually I'm gonna teleport to this room. I'll just save this one up. And then my last card, I will take an orange from the room I'm in. And have a party marine get me a green from there. All right, so I will score 2 points. And can't quite score that one. And that's my turn. Over to you, Trevor.
All right, so I'm placing into 4, which I can't do, so I'll place into here because that's the only other choice. And then I will. Now I can't flip this the other way, that it still counts as being in the same, right?
Yeah, not the same line or the inverse.
Okay. Oh, let's just try this. So what I want to do? Let's see. 1, 2. Yeah. Okay, so first thing I'm gonna do is activate. Who am I activating? This guy. Where's the green guy? This is the green guy. That's the one in front of me. So if I activate this guy, I can hit this guy and I'll gain a loot card and a point, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm doing that. And I take a face down loot card, is that correct?
Yeah. Unless you were saving it for the last slot, yeah, you would take a face down.
Why? Wait, why did he get a point?
Because I'm awesome.
He before he did it, he had less points
With a
than
higher score. Got it.
Evan. Yeah,
Got it.
or Evan had a higher score. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, for some reason in my head I read that as the highest, but yeah, I understand.
And then I lost track of what I was doing. So now I'm moving.
Sorry.
I'll move in here. Oh, can you use these face down loot cards to save up for this?
No, because you chose to draw the card instead of.
No, but could I have not drawn the card?
Yeah, yeah.
Good. Okay. Okay, so this time the loot box, I can't remember. The loot. Oh, right. Yeah, the loot box is a face down card as well.
Yeah, so it's either a face down or you could take a cube. You could take the cube and set it on this last objective slot and save up for that. That one, the last one costs 2.
Okay. And then my last thing is to hit. Oh, I can't anymore. Oh, wait, yes, I can. Can't I? Oh, no. Poor planning. I guess I will take. What do I? Okay. I guess I'll take a purple. Which does that. And then that's the end of me. So I do this, get 2 points, and flip a new one.
Oh wait, wrong one. Sorry.
And then I think that's.
Yeah, that looks like everything. So move on to Evan.
Okay. That is a 3, which already has a buddy, so I'll put that buddy there. And then that goes away, and another one goes there. And I do this thing. Let's see. Um, mhm. Let's go like this. So I will radio this guy to shoot you, which lets me go like this and gets me one of these. And
Does this one only work for the alien guy?
Yeah, so if you got that card, we call it a hacked radio. You could order that minion to attack or collect a bottle for you, and they will even hit the other person's captain because they're stupid. They'll do whatever they're told, except for kill themselves.
does this
They won't do
card
that.
Does this card say take 3 bottles or just 1 bottle?
Yeah, so it's the same as the middle space. It's just you could slot it anywhere. It's just any one bottle where your captain is.
Oh yeah, that's never going in my thing. Okay, so
Tell us how you feel about it, Evan.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
never entering my thing.
Well, yeah.
So this teleports here. That was a dud draw. And then I move there, and I grab the 2 boxes. We will do. Actually, we'll just grab 2 cards. Okay, let's go. Yeah, let's do that.
Why you gotta
guy.
steal my stuff?
Sorry, buddy.
Lazy.
We'll go like that. Ka-chow.
Cow. You have kids? You have kids, Evan?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, I've always been a dork, so I can't blame it on that. But yes.
Oh, okay, yeah. Because we're a big Cars family, so yeah, my daughter loves it.
I will say the first time I walked into Cars Land at California Adventure, I was like, I feel like I'm in the movie.
Is it my
I've never
turn
been.
or
Yeah, you didn't score anything, did you, Evan?
I sure did. Nope.
Nope. Yep.
okay? So first I play a minion, which is going to be on the 3 spots here. Already taken, already taken, already taken. So my only choice is right here. And then I think I'm doing
Look at all that stuff he's got.
this.
Yeah, he's trying the old stockpile maneuver, which I respect.
But he's also winning
No
with
respect.
the stockpile maneuver.
I'm
No,
at,
he's not.
I'm in mine.
Well, he's
Oh,
you know,
sorry. I thought
if it was reverse victory point or party points, he would.
Golf
Sorry.
score.
somehow the designer is winning.
So when someone gets to 10, how does last call work again?
Yeah, so we finish the round, and then there's a final round. So
Okay.
there's a last call round. The last call round is the round.
So finish
after
the
you
round
finish.
in player order, and then there's one more round. Got it.
Yeah.
So my turn starts in a vending machine.
Yeah. So the very first thing you get to do is pick a card, even before you pick your command line.
Okay. I think I like having movement as options. Though I don't know if I'm going to do it this turn. Oh, wait, does this one have to be placed?
No, you don't have to slot the one.
Okay,
You
got it. I wasn't sure if it was just these that
Slot
can
the
go to your
one
hand, or
too.
if it's the vending machine that can.
No.
Um,
It does mean it moves right below you to 3 blue.
Okay.
And then if you could just grab a dispenser slot for us, throw in there.
Yeah. Sure, we'll have more loot boxes.
Loot box.
So this is a reverse, Sasha. I'm just going to say because this hasn't come up yet.
Yeah.
Since you've already interacted with the vending machine, you can go into this room and get the loot boxes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't actually think I am going to have other plans, I think.
Yeah.
So I have an attack and a move. I will attack. I guess I'll attack. Is there a rough distribution in here? Like, am I going to see this again?
You have the potential of getting. It's the same distribution. Everyone has the same distribution. There's 2 of each of the minion types in the deck.
Okay.
Except for your own.
So I could get this one again.
You definitely could. Yeah.
Okay. Sure, I'll get this one. And then I'll go to here. And then I think I'm going to take this, place it here. I'll teleport to
I
here.
like this.
Whoa.
And then I will shoot you, gaining a point and a loot box, which I guess I'll unlock my party objective. I have a lot of cards now.
Yeah.
So. And then I will use the alien to shoot. I guess I'll shoot Trevor because Trevor is further ahead than Rick. Sorry, Tricky Rick.
Tricky Ricky Rick.
Oh, Tricky Ricky Rick. Sorry, my bad.
Yeah. Get it right.
That goes up there. And I think that is my turn.
Okay.
No scoring.
Still can't score. Nice.
Oh wait,
Okay.
I also get a loot box from that.
Yeah. So you could of course get a card, but you could also save up for that last. Okay, Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, I think. I am actually low on ways to get green bottles on my board, so I am going to get a card.
Okay. Alrighty.
I guess not really, because minions can get them. All right.
That makes it. Let's see, you can't score. Yep. So that makes it my turn. Place my minion. Just going somewhere else. Well, I guess this is as good as any. And then, what am I after here? Purples. Okay. Yeah. All right. Okay, I'm gonna slot this card here. I'm gonna start by playing this line. So my first thing's gonna be a damage. Take out the Spartan. Fortunately, that doesn't get me the bottle. It's okay. Although in a perfect world, I would have done that second, maybe. Oh well. Okay. Then I will move over here. And I'm gonna take the card. All right. You a party marine for a purple? Yep, I'm going to use this marine to take this purple out of this room. And I can score both of these for 3 points.
That gets us to last call.
1, 2, 3. So last call. Okay, well since I'm the first player, this is like the longest version at 10 points. So we're gonna finish the round and then there'll be one final round. But my turn is over, so we'll move on to Trevor.
All right. So I'm gonna get this turn and one more turn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm. You guys are killing me. Hmm. That is no bueno. Can't do that. So if I interact with the vending machine, sorry, I haven't done it in a while, so I've forgotten what I do. I take one of these cards.
I think that's true.
Is that what happens?
Yes, you take one of those cards, the vending machine moves to whatever the icon is on the card, and then you drop off one of the dispenser slots in that space.
Okay. Okay.
Can I toss your minion down for you, or
Sure. Can only go in one spot anyway.
Yeah.
Can I even get that? No, there's none of those. None of those and none of those. Awesome. It's weird. All of my minions have been placed here.
yeah,
It's been the same thing for me. I've only
Did it?
placed in orange.
No.
there is an RNG element to it. So
I don't think I'm gonna be able to do anything fantastic here, so I guess I might as well take the point I can get. Don't help me. Yeah, none of those help me. Okay. I guess I want to do that. And then that. Oh, it's pretty silky though. I guess I'll do it anyway. So I'll take this guy. Or oh, I put him on my map, don't I? Because he's mine now.
Soon you're gonna put him back over here for that point.
And then yes. And then I'm gonna do a minion. Yes, I will take a yellow bottle. And then on my last guy, I'll switch this. And I'll take a green bottle. Oh wait, is there even one in there?
Yeah, you've got both. Uh-huh.
Okay, cool. I didn't check that first. All right. Let's just hope something turns good. All right, so this guy's going away. That's 1 point.
Uh-huh.
And then flip this. All right, that's me.
I just gave you your 1 point.
You did? Okay.
Okay. So I put out a dude. It goes to orange 2, which already has a dude. They all already have dudes, which means I can put them anywhere. And obviously I'm going to be shooting Elizabeth Yates. Obviously,
Yes.
of course. And okay. Show placed my minion for Marino. Um, I think I believe I just need to be picking up bottles. Right. Right. So, I don't really need to move. Maybe I'll go this way. Yeah. So, this son of a gun is gonna shoot. So I will gain a point and a loot box, which will unlock this third thing. And then, oh, I guess I don't have any green bottles in my space, do I? Guess I can't really do what I need to do anyway. So maybe I need to do it the other direction.
I don't think you can get all 3 bottles no matter what direction you do.
Is there no space with an orange and a green bottle in it?
Not around you.
Okay.
There's this space and this space. But that does appear to be it at the moment.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, I will pick up an orange bottle since that's what I've got. And then I will move away from the purple bottles and not pick up a purple bottle.
Do you not want to collect one?
Oh, can I do that in any order?
You could do the twos. You could do in any order.
Okay. I don't really need purple bottles, but I will do it. Alrighty. That was that.
So yeah,
Yeah.
my turn. Start by placing a minion. I guess I sort of have a choice between these two.
Yes.
Guess I'll put it here. And then I think I'm going to be doing
Right. My move's going to be in here instead. Okay. That's what you get.
this here, I think. I'll collect a purple bottle. I need more purple bottles.
You do.
You got to catch
Then-
them all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I will take a green bottle here with my radio. And then I will take a green bottle from here with my other radio.
Nice.
Then I will move here with my movement.
Bada boom.
Bada boom.
Yeah, I like it a
then
lot.
Take a yellow bottle with
Bada
my
boom.
radio.
Big bada boom.
And then I will shoot
Nice.
purple for a point. And the loot box, which will be, yeah, I'll put one on there.
Okay. Curious what you'll
And
be able to score here.
I think that's that. So I will start by doing this one.
Able to do something.
So 2
Flip
points.
double oranges. Flip double oranges.
1, 2. And then
Aw.
green, do that one. Get 1. And then this one, get 1. And then this, I'll do this one. 2. And then that is that.
All right. I believe that makes it my turn.
Final turns.
All right, yeah, last call, final round. I'll place my minion. Let's see, 3 green. There's one there. This is the only logical place. All right. Is there an orange in there? There is. I already have one. Okay, what's this do? This might be good though. There's a lot of oranges. There's 2 there though. Okay, I don't know if this is gonna work out, but we're gonna do it. Okay, so I'm playing this line. I'm gonna have this party rain take out this mechanoid. Actually, no, we're gonna have it take out this mechanoid. Yes, sir. Gonna take an orange. And then going to damage Menanda, which has graciously passed me in points.
Yeah.
Let me unlock this 3rd slot. I see. Okay. So I still have a Robo Spartan. Which needs to get me shoot. Screw that up. I actually made a huge mistake. Okay, that's fine.
Nice.
Yeah, I should have gotten one of the other 2 bottles I needed, but hey, we're just playtesting. So,
No, this is for money,
This is
right?
it.
yeah, because that's so. I guess I can get a replacement that'll do the job. Okay. All right. Let's just take a green, and then I can move and draw an orange. I'll just take this orange and move his, who do I not necessarily want to hit me? I don't know. We'll just go there. All right. So my final score is just going to be this mechanoid for 1. Luckily, I can score that for 2, so that's 3 points. And I did not get what I needed for 2 more. So 3, 1, 14. Okay. Over to you, Trevor.
I don't think I'm gonna catch you.
You might catch me.
All right,
Need
so
7
I'm
points
going
this
to
turn.
place my minion. And guess what? It's going to green, but oh no, somebody did screw me. Awesome. So it is going to green. Every single minion has gone to green.
That's mine have
Because
always
somebody's
gone
been
to
nice enough
orange.
when I did get them all filled. Sasha was nice enough to take just one away and
That-
make it go back to green.
That's why you steal other
Yeah.
radios so that you can use
Mhm.
other people's minions.
I did do that on purpose on my last turn, because I chose to kill that one, but
Yeah.
yeah.
So I guess I'm gonna play. I'm not 100% sure, but I honestly don't think it matters too much for me.
Honestly.
If I do this, kill this guy. Is that the one I want to kill? Sure, why not? I don't think it matters. No, that's not the one I want to kill. I wanted the green guy. Okay, so do that. And then I'm gonna run for no reason. I don't see
You don't have to move. I don't know if that matters to you, but you could choose not to. You could also slot this bottle one and at least take the orange. This bottle card you have.
yeah, I'm gonna do that for the last one, I think. And take the orange and the green. Oh, I can't get. Oh my gosh, I didn't even realize. That's awesome. Okay. I forgot they have to be in there, obviously. So I need 2 greens, so I need to get to a green. So I guess I will need to run.
Yeah,
So
you can have your. I mean, you could have your last radio get it for you. One thing the radios let you do is play the map without you having to move per se.
right. I don't think it matters, so I might as well just slot this in for fun. Unless I was trying to take something away from somebody, but I just on TTS I can't do that look. But that's a TTS thing, not a game thing. So I'm gonna take a green bottle. I guess I can just take this one. And then I am going to score, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I can't hit him with this minion, can I?
Yeah, with you covered a mechanoid here in your 3rd slot, and that
Yeah.
could have damaged me for a point. You also could have put this here and taken the orange from where you were, and then used the radio to do whatever you wanted at the end.
Including getting a point from hitting.
Yeah, but I mean, whatever looks good to you.
Yeah. I mean, I need another green bottle to do that. It's a point. That's 2 points. Yeah, I'm not sure. Okay. Well, let's just see if we get lucky with the other one, I guess. So I think I took my bottles, didn't I?
Yeah.
Pretty sure. Okay. So I'm gonna score that. That's one balloon.
One balloon.
One balloon.
I thought it was 99. Red lift
Only in French.
balloon.
Uh,
Is that Jane? I don't know. I
okay.
don't remember anymore.
Do that one. For 2. Okay, I made it to the last call.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh-oh.
Not
Uh-oh, I'm
convinced.
glitching.
Yeah, mine's lagging.
Uh-oh.
If we get booted, we can just agree I was going to win. So
If I
Oh.
get lucky with a flip, but
Is it? Oh, yeah, whoa, hey.
2. It's the first lucky thing that's happened.
At least there's a positive RNG there moment. Yeah. So
I think that is me.
that's gonna be it. All right, Evan, wow us with your
yeah,
card prowess.
let's do it. Okay, so I
The good news is you can attack anybody you want.
heck yeah, I add a minion to the one, which is here, and then I flip a Rooney and flops a dongle, go like that. So I move, which I'll do a loot. No, vending machine. Does the can I top deck from the vending machine?
We haven't been up to this point.
All right, I'll take this one,
Good question though.
and then it moves to the card I just took. Is that what Jill says?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Then I move it to number 1. Oh wait, that's not where. Oh, okay.
Was it this card?
Yeah. I move it to number 1, and I put some goodies in there.
Goody
I
bag.
put these goodies in. Okay, and then I radio to a friend. That friend is going to shoot Elizabeth Yates. Or maybe that friend should grab a green bottle. There's probably higher upside on that. So I'll grab a green bottle. And then where I'm standing, I will grab a green bottle. And then where I'm standing, I will grab a green bottle and an orange bottle.
Seems like a decent amount of points.
And so I will get 2 points. And get who knows? Who knows?
You can do some card counting.
I'll do this one. 2 points. Hey, I made it. All right.
Okay. All
I was
right.
waiting for that one to
Take
come
my
out.
breath away.
On the 3, can't go there, can't go there, has to go here. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be doing a diagonal thing, but I need to decide exactly that I want to do it in the inverse order or not. Probably doing it in this order.
Attack.
Okay. Let's bottle options. I do want yellow bottles, which are not close to me right now. But that's what the radios are for. I will move here, and I get the vending machine. Wait. No, I can't hit Evan for points. He's the only
Nice
person I
try.
cannot hit for points.
Nice try.
Okay, yeah, vending machine. And which radio is better for me here? I guess this. So my option, I only have 2 different radio options on here. This one does not get me a yellow, and this one also does not get me yellow, I don't think. Oh wait, the vending machine is going to move.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So now I have to just like calculate based on where it's going to go. Okay.
Oh, because you're trying to think about if you can use the minion when it goes there. Yeah. Yep.
Okay. So I think this one is the best one for me because it's currently in that spot, so I can move to any green spot.
Yeah.
It's not this one.
It has to be 3 or 4 because it can't go
Yeah.
where it can't. Yeah, it can't go where it was.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'll take this one.
Okay.
And then that puts the vending machine over here, and I'll give it some.
What do you want in there?
Yellow E action. I'm gonna give it this just for fun. And this is gonna be placed here.
Yeah.
And I will punch you. Oops, that's not me. Punch you, get a loot box, which will unlock my final slot. Okay. And now I'm in this area. I will start by.
Did you take your point for punching them?
Yeah, I did take my point.
You did, yeah.
I will take a yellow bottle. And then I move.
If you can get a green bottle or an alien, you win.
Yeah, which I can do. Right. I can do it with a punch currently if I move over here, or I get these 2 loot boxes and hope for 2 useful, better things than this. I don't think there's any need to risk it.
No.
Because extra loot box stuff isn't in-game points or anything. So I'll just go here, and then I will take a green with my call, and then I'll punch the alien with the last punch.
Last punch.
And then score, I will do this and this, completing this, get 2 points. 1, 2. And then I'll do the alien punch. Get 1 point.
Piling up.
Alien punch.
Get soldier dude for 1 point. And then get 2 points for these 2 bottles.
Yeah.
Nice. That is a tie for the best score at this point value. So very nice.
Sweet. Yeah, I think that's that.
Okay. Well, congratulations. Impressive.
Thank you.
Does this wrap around? Is that what that was meant to do?
Yeah, it does wrap around. Yeah.
No, it was a serious question because I was like, what happens if you go beyond
Yeah.
16? Because I
No,
thought you might
it
be
wraps
over.
around. A lot of these level games do end with most people sort of in the 12 to like 16 range. But yeah, I just had people wrap around because I didn't want to make the tracker any larger.
Right.
So
No, that makes sense.
okay, this is when if I was at a show, I'd ask for you to break it down for me for feedback. The good, the bad, the ugly.
That's what we're gonna do.
Yeah, I didn't want to steal your thunder though.
Break your kneecaps.
Yeah, no, let's get into feedback. Who's going first?
Trevor, it's your tradition.
It's tradition.
You want me to go first? Okay.
I mean, unless you don't want to go first.
No, I'm fine going first.
Okay.
I might, as usual, play off of some of the things that Sasha and Evan say. I actually had a lot of fun playing this. I didn't really make any notes. I made them in my brain, but I was thinking stuff out. So initial thoughts were I really liked. I mean, I like the board. I like the way it looks. I like the player boards and how they look. So I like the layout and the table presence. And I like the art.
Oh, thank you. It was a lot of fun to show at the show because I'm doing the board and I've got UV coating and high gloss.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
So it really pops.
Yeah, I can imagine, especially on like the black starry sky. So yeah, and I like that. I like the theme. I thought it was pretty interesting. A little bit of wackiness.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. So from gameplay point of view, I thought there was an interesting intertwining of things, but I don't know if everything worked for me. So just a few things. Like when you're putting out a minion, is there a reason that you have to do it based on this card?
So the reason that it's settled there at this point was just like an answer I had to keeping the market for ultimately it kind of boiled down to when there's doubles, having a way to keep the market fresh that was sort of built into the game, without it just being like wipe the cards at the end of every round. I liked keeping some options around because sometimes people would want something that popped up at the end of a round. And so just having it like all go away when we got to the end of the round and putting a new set of things out wasn't really working for me. So I'd come up with the vending machine movement thing first. That was using that system earliest. And then I thought, well, why not use the same for the minions? But that's how I got there. So
okay. My biggest issue with it is that I got a few feel bad moments with my minions in that every single one of my minions went into green just on the draw of cards.
Yeah, that's not good if it made you feel that way. Obviously that is unusual that it didn't ever move out.
Yeah. And then I thought, well, at least I've filled now, so I'm going to be able to place anywhere and make a strategic decision. But then Sasha came in and took this guy, and then I think maybe somebody else took one of my other guys when they filled again. Like literally every turn was green.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'll have to check the tape on that, but that's what it felt like.
Check the
No,
tape.
it did. You were there the whole game, so yeah.
So I'm not, I mean, sometimes we build constraints into games because they're needed, and sometimes we do it because we think we need constraints. And I'm just not, other than refreshing the market, so knowing that that's what it's there for, I wonder if there's another way to refresh the market, because this seems like a very strategic decision that I wouldn't want to take away from a player, where I'm going to place my minion. And if I'm going to fight with somebody, like let's say I don't have a minion here, but I'm going to fight with somebody, they can see what I'm doing. They can go in there and take my minion. Like we can actually have this strategic, oh no, you're not doing that. I can see what you're doing. You want that. No, you're not getting that. I'm going in there to kick you out again. Or you can place it somewhere safer where you're like, okay, I don't think I'm going to have a battle over here, and I'll have some choices on when I activate my minion when I need certain things. I had, unfortunately, very limited supply of guys that I could choose. My minion choice was very low on this side. This guy wasn't here for the longest time, I don't think. I pretty much had army guys to choose from, or bottles, and that was where the feel bad kind of came in. I could see all this other cool stuff. This always was kind of away from me. You were moving away from me, so I couldn't do that. I didn't have the move that I needed to get to you, because every time I get within one of you, you'd move away and I'd be left with somebody lower than me. So yeah, my movement around the board was not not the best. And first game probably didn't play optimally. I know I didn't play optimally, and there's probably some moves that I could have made that were much smarter moves, but just those were the kind of feelings coming out of it. An overall big picture thing was, it seemed pretty clear that, I mean, I wasn't sure, but it seemed pretty clear with everything that I was collecting and how much I had and what was in my areas, because I also ended up in like dead space areas and then couldn't move out to go do anything that was really that phenomenal. I could pick up the odd thing, but even at the end I got extremely lucky. I got rid of all my resources, and I pretty much knew I was going to lose probably with 20 minutes left in the game.
Yeah.
And so that was an issue. Like I didn't care that much. I was like, I'm playtesting, this is what I'm doing. But you know, if I was playing the game and that had happened repeatedly to not just me but other people, I'd be like, yeah, it's going on too long for me to know that I'm in a losing position.
Mhm. Yeah, no, I hear that. This is one of the biggest disparities I've had.
Okay.
So, I mean, but I mean, if this can happen, that's definitely something I got to look at. So,
Well, and yeah, it's just one playthrough. It's just my feedback based on this playthrough specifically.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, one thing about the minion thing, I do worry if I give one concern I have is if I give people too much freedom with the minion placement, it's kind of like they can always do what they want with their starting minions. And I did kind of build it to be where if you wanted more options, you would try to get other radios to be able to facilitate other options. But I mean, again, it's one of those things that if it's not quite doing it.
Just one little thing on this point. I do think, Trevor, you were underutilizing taking other people's radios because I had the same thing the entire game. It just so happened that every single time my minions got put out, it always got put out in orange. But I got to the point where I just had everyone else's radios, so it was like I had access to the entire board, and
Yeah, and
the allegiance of the minions doesn't matter after the first couple turns, at least with what I experienced.
Yeah, because
yeah, and
even getting one other radio, even if it's only one thing you're doing, it does open up your options tenfold, and in the sense that you have instant access to all those spaces to at least
and
hopefully get the one thing you need.
yeah, and that would be one thing that I'd really want to point out in the rule book, because I took this and I don't think at the time I had the choice to take any action cards.
Okay.
So that was another kind of, I don't know, I'd have to go back and check if this was just a bad decision or if I had a choice, but I realized after I took it that really what I wanted was double actions, so that I was never losing an action. Because once you put this in there, you're losing essentially an action of a movement or a radio or being able to hit somebody.
Yeah.
So those to me feel more powerful than the double bottle card.
Yeah,
In
I do agree with that. I think the bottles are kind of more of an opportunistic thing, especially when there was just one. That was kind of my way to balance the minions, because I do think that minion variety can end up being a little bit overpowered. But if your captain isn't in a room where you can still benefit from like the other thing that's on the card, you'll still
Yeah.
end up losing points. So that's why I did that, or at least how I did that.
So yeah, I didn't realize the value disparity in my mind anyway. It feels like a value disparity. It might not be. Again, one play. Don't don't know the game inside and out, obviously. But to me, if these are all the same price, but one is obviously maybe worth less, especially at the beginning, throwing this in, um, it might it might feel like kind of like Evan when he drew that one. He's like, yeah, I'm not putting that in. That's kind of how I started to feel about the bottles until it was late in the game to really go, okay, well now I can throw it in.
Right. And that's
But
why I'm letting people not slot cards. But I get that
yeah,
you're not seeing a return on it in the early game. So
yeah, my fear was that because I was taking blind draws, my fear was that I was going to just keep getting bottles and not get lucky and hit something that actually gave me something with another action. And I think out of the 3 cards that I got, 2 of them were double bottles.
yeah.
Um, but again, that was just my experience, and I do feel like there probably was, if I played it through, I'd be like, oh, don't do that.
Uh, Let me ask you guys this then, because this is a shakeup for me, but it would maybe be a lot more fun. What if when you're taking a loot box? Okay, shoot. I haven't thought this through yet. I'm just gonna throw.
Yeah.
What if when you take a loot box, you could take a face-up card, but nothing else happens. So it would shuffle the market options around quicker. Okay, but see, the problem is then why do you go to vending machines? Yeah, because part of the incentivizing of moving the vending machines around is that you're seeing what you're getting, right? I was just trying to think of a way to have it not be so frustrating, just trusting RNG in the early game with loot boxes, but yeah, so I'm not sure. Because I do think vending machines work the way they are, and that the real pros, you know what you're getting, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, early on, that was like I was hyper focused on getting to a vending machine every turn.
Yeah. Okay, well, I'm gonna think about that. I'm not sure. Not sure what the answer is yet, but I'm gonna think about it. I'm gonna write that down.
I also like the idea of like having a program space. I did find it a little bit overwhelming, but again, I think that might be a TTS thing because I just can't glance down on it. I'm like stuck over here trying to figure out what's here and then what's out here and what I have. All of that would just be glances in a real game. So this is one of those games that when I play it, TTS just doesn't do it any favors. It's one of
No.
those ones that will really slow down on TTS.
Yeah, and it did.
Yeah, and that's just really unfortunate, but that's just a TTS thing.
Yeah, to give some perspective on that, I did about 12 games at Gen Con, and the same point value, same basic setup, just a couple of changes. And the games were all between 50 and 60 minutes, just about. I think one was 65. So today was a lot longer for sure.
Yeah, because Trevor was playing. Um,
Yeah.
if you want to test your game, test it with Trevor. If you want to test the, I do think that the way the first player is now, and you said you had another way to do it, but the way the first player is now, it really gives an advantage to last mover.
Right.
To see where you can, maybe it doesn't, but the reason I would say that it does is because you're more likely, if you're going to win the game, to be in the lead before you start. And then if Sasha can hit you, he automatically gets a point and a loot card.
Yeah.
So that to me is exactly what Sasha did about halfway through the game when I saw what he was doing. That's probably the strategy I would employ. Is build up, build up, build up. So your catch up mechanic right now is if you hit the person that's in front of you, you get to take a point as well as a loot card. And it doesn't, your catch up mechanic doesn't take into account the reserve currency that you have on your board. He could have all kinds of stuff just waiting to go off, which he did. And then hit you for a point every time. But when you hit him, you don't get the same point because you're in front of him. So I think with the first player or the last player move and that possibility, I just think that's too strong of a
Yeah.
and you
I
can
had two other
offset.
people. Yeah, okay. Sorry, go
I
ahead.
was just gonna say you can offset that. Like if that's the situation, you can offset that by giving other people resources or giving your, if it's a disadvantage here, maybe you give a resource or something. But again, it's dependent on where this is. So it's never a static thing where you can say, oh, well, if you're first, you get something extra. Because they may or may not be doing that strategy.
Yeah, how about, can I propose this as a thought that damaging a player, giving you both, part of what made his strategy great. I've had two other people try the strategy that Sasha went with, and the two other times it happened, they got bottlenecked near the end of the game and didn't get what they wanted, and so
Right.
they didn't score quite as well. They didn't even win. Obviously, what he had here was optimal, and he scored incredible.
Yeah, he got very lucky as well.
But part of that is that he also had so many options with cards. So what do you think of if that's one, if they're ahead of you, damaging a player with a higher score, you don't necessarily get both? What if it was a choice of the point and the loot box? Does that cheat it? Does that cheapen it too much, or would that still be interesting to you?
I'm terribly sorry. My son just has a question here. I just have to mute you for just one sec.
Oh, sure. Does anyone else think that would be a decent counter to the maybe overpowered nature of
with a game that is a race to 10 points? That just means I would never take the loot box if I had the choice between a loot box and a point. At least in my mind.
Right, but now you're getting both, which is even better.
Yeah, no, obviously that would nerf it, but then I think it would just essentially feel like you just get a point. I don't know. It wouldn't feel like a choice if you like wanted it to be a choice.
I missed the end of the question. Can you repeat it now that I'm back?
I was just I was just curious if making it an either or on if they're ahead of you, you getting a loot box and a party point. If you
Right.
made it
Take one or the other.
Yeah. Sasha, what did you say, Sasha?
I was just saying that in a race when the total point values to win is so low, if I ever had the choice between a point and something else, I feel like I'd have a hard time making a choice other than a point. So it just, to me, it wouldn't feel like a choice. It would just be like you just get a point when you hit someone that has more points than you.
Now, to be clear, you can move the point value. I 10 is what I consider.
Yeah, but I mean it like
okay.
in this range, like
Sure.
Yeah.
if the game is less than 40 points, then a point is pretty significant.
I mean, because you did get a lot of cards that way, and especially early on.
Yeah,
so
like no, it was definitely good. It would definitely make it less bad. I guess the only thing that I'm saying is that it wouldn't feel like a choice, and so I feel like it would just be you get a point rather than getting a loot box or something, or I don't know.
I think I would tend to agree that I would probably take the point. You know things like Quacks of Quedlinburg. If you know that game, do you know that game, or is that no? Okay. There's lots of other games as well where you have to make that decision of, do I buy more stuff or do I take the points now? And I think because the points are so important in this game, because it's such a low scoring game, like nobody's scoring 80 points. A point is so valuable that I probably wouldn't take the loot card, because if I take the loot card and flip it in its bottles, I'm going to want to not be happy.
It would certainly make it more challenging for me to do what I was doing, because I would have less options of what cards I could place in that. So in that sense, it would solve it. My only point I was bringing up is I think it's reasonable to try and avoid giving people an option when there's like one option that is just like obviously better.
Mm-hmm.
And
it doesn't feel like a real choice.
Oh, okay. Okay, so you're saying my idea you wouldn't encourage. Do you have an idea for what might fix this?
I don't think that the idea is necessarily bad. I do think that there's something there is. I don't want to cut off Trevor's sort of points, but yeah, I do think that there is an issue with how the you can get points when you're further behind, and that's like not as much of an option for people that are further ahead with how things work currently. Is I think there's more sort of systemic fixes rather than just focusing on the payout for hitting a player that's higher than you.
What do you think about this, Sasha? Because to get points, you have to have the thing to get the points. So instead of getting points, maybe you get a blind draw of a thing.
That could be interesting, because then it's like a potential point. It's not like a guaranteed point.
Yeah,
and so
you still need then it's luck of the draw. You're not giving them a point. You're giving them a potential point that they might never use and might get stuck like Evan's 2 bottles here, right?
I do think that both of the things that you guys suggested will definitely move the needle in the right direction. But I just think that there might be other things with how that system works that could be adjusted to potentially solve the problem, rather than just like adjusting what the payout is for hitting a person.
Yeah, it's tough because when people aren't stacking like you did, it works up. It's worked out nice up to
Got
this
it.
point as a catch-up mechanic.
And so then maybe the problem is having the stacking thing be an option.
Yeah, well, how do I fix that? Because I
felt good to me, but it also it definitely felt like it could be potentially problematic from a strategic standpoint. Like,
Well, what if you
I
had
would always want to do that.
what if you had something where you could limit how many of things you could hold.
That was definitely something that I was going to ask a question. Is like, is there a limit to how much we can hold in here?
No, there's
Because
not
that would
currently.
have made it so that I would have to make decisions about
Because if you
when I
can
wanted to unlock more of these.
if you can limit what's in here, and I'm not saying this is I mean, I'm just kind of giving you my feelings of how I play through. The
Mhm.
solutions, 90% of the time, solutions you get, except from Evan and Sasha, of course, are going to be, they might be decent ideas, but they might not be exactly what works for your game. So I'm really cautious when people give me a problem or like want a solution and say, hey, you should do this. It's really the feeling of what were they feeling at that moment that wasn't working, and go, well, is this actually the solution, or do I need to find a better solution? But one thing you could do is, if you have just an automatic thing that can always happen, you can always trade 2 for 1 point. But you can only ever have, I don't know, however many things in here. So if you're not able to fulfill your, you get unlucky and you're not able to fulfill, you'll have to decide to take 2 things, get a point, and, fill more of it to get you things. I don't know that that's what I would do. I'm just brainstorming. That's probably not a good idea. Because I kind of like the idea of Sasha being able to just stack. Like that felt like that kind of felt good from over here. I was like, oh, that seems like fun.
It was satisfying.
Yeah.
I do think it's like I'm just always going to do that if
Like I said,
things
I've
work the
seen it
same way that.
Yeah.
2 other times and it didn't work out that well. Because they didn't have something they needed.
Yeah.
And that's another reason the last player, everything you said about the last player I get, except that I do want to throw in, they do deal with scarcity, especially by the last round, that if a player doesn't quite have quite as much stuff as he has, which you did, that was your strategy, but if they don't, it can be pretty difficult. Even though the other people are ahead, it can be pretty difficult for them to get the actual resources that they need at the end of the game.
Mhm.
So that's another reason why it kind of is, here at this
I
point.
think I realize that too, but I think that would be my strategy, that I would try. Now that's me thinking that. That's why we play test, obviously. I could play it like that 4 times and go, nope, I was completely wrong. That just screwed me 4 times. So again, it's
You
one
already won
thing
once.
yeah, totally.
Yeah. So
did anybody have anything kind of more to add to that, or should I just go on to the next?
I have some things in that vein that I think I'm going to get into.
Okay.
But it like sort of ties in with other things. So
Yeah, I don't really have a lot of other things. Like I said, and like I know I hit on some things that are going to give you potential pause, but I I want you to remember my opening comments that this looks great on the table, and I thought the interactions were really interesting. And I liked the programming, even though it was a little too deep for me. And I like the simplicity of trading these in to get fulfill your orders essentially, as well as being able to upgrade and the choice between doing that. I don't know if I would always do this. I think I might. which makes me wonder if it's really a choice. But obviously, I didn't get there, so it wasn't a good use of what I did. Whereas Sasha did. So, I probably shouldn't have done this. So I guess it is a choice because I chose to do it and didn't get there. But yeah, I would definitely sit down and play this again. Like I had a good time playing it, even though I knew I was going to lose, which is normally a major thing for me in games. But one of my favorite games has that problem.
Okay. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. I'm gonna think a lot about that.
Yeah.
Real quick, have you seen any other game use some of these elements that I've got? I'm just curious with the grid, the grid for programming. And
Yeah, there's a few games out that do that.
okay. I just haven't played them, so
Yeah.
Okay.
I think they do it slightly differently, but similar.
Okay. Yeah. What are they? I would love to look.
I don't remember. I've played way too many games and I never remember what I have and haven't played. But I think,
Oh, sure.
I think Tidal Blades 2 is gonna have that.
When you said mechs versus minions, did you just mean the programming?
Yeah. It's really just a simple comparison I use to
Okay.
Yeah,
give people the idea that it has any programming whatsoever.
So if you use mechs versus minions, because my brain went completely to a different spot.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
like,
I'm not sure what to compare it to, so that's why I asked.
no, you can. I would just say if you know mechs versus minions, there's a programming component in that, and there's some programming in this game, but in a different way, in a grid format. Because when you said mechs versus minions, all of a sudden I was imagining putting a whole bunch of dudes out on a map and having a tower defense, and
Yeah.
and so that's where my mind went when you said that, and I had to gently sift that out of my mind, going, no, I don't think we're doing that. This isn't co-op, is it? No, okay. So it actually got in the way of me learning the game a little bit because I was like, if somebody says a game, I'm like, oh, it's like this game. Okay, I get it. I'm like, no, just this piece is the programming. So that threw me off
I
a
guess.
little bit.
Yeah, I guess I'll just go back to just referring to it as action programming, and I probably won't. I mean, that being true, I probably won't even mention anything because I just wasn't sure what to say.
Yeah, no, I think
because not everybody's familiar. Like especially my people I know, they're not really action programming isn't super common, at least in my play.
Yeah.
I think the biggest known one that I've come across would be Robo Rally.
Robo Rally, okay.
I think that's the most that's a very old. Is that the right name for it? Maybe that's not the right name for it.
Yeah, I mean,
that sounds right.
Adam also mentioned that in chat.
Yeah.
Okay.
As one, he also mentioned.
Yeah, I think it's a game from the 90s.
Yeah.
So people would probably identify with that if they're old like I am.
Yeah. It looks like Tidal Blades 2 has a 3x3 action grid that I haven't actually played the prototype, but I think you execute it very similarly.
Okay.
And then I've played a bunch. I've played several other prototypes that do a very similar kind of action programming thing like that. Spatial action programming.
Yeah.
So it's not very common though, so it's still a really cool.
Well, I hadn't seen it, and I definitely hadn't seen it with like resource gathering or collecting.
Yeah.
And that's
no,
kind of
cool.
where I started. I don't know if anyone's ever played FTL.
I definitely see that sort of.
I built the ship around that, and I was like, wouldn't it be zany if you went around and you had to collect stuff, and then I literally just thought of the play on words with a boarding party also being a party, and that's how we got here. I was like, I want to mix action programming and resource management, like that.
One other game that this sort of puzzle first made me think of, this sort of spatial, like it is almost like we're playing some sort of physical abstract game, but that is sort of determining what we do on our turns. It is Smartphone Inc. I don't know if you've played that.
What's it called? Smartphone?
Smartphone Incorporated, Smartphone Inc.
Oh yeah, I've heard of that.
You basically are sort of placing these tiles sort of overlapping each other, and basically what sort of things you cover like makes different things happen.
Yeah, that's a cool one.
Just as a concept of having this fun little thing that you play around with a little bit that then sort of determines what you're doing on your turn. Yeah.
Okay,
Anyways,
I'm gonna check those out. Yeah,
Yeah.
I haven't played any
It's
of
a good
those.
game.
So
Yeah, check it out.
maybe they'll help me.
Totally, yeah. So yeah, Trevor.
One
should I-
one
yeah,
last
go ahead.
thing. Is, and it's just a small thing. Anytime you have a river, or sorry, a market like this that doesn't cost anything, so you're just giving them some choice. I think you should be able to top deck if you don't like what's out there.
Okay. Yeah, as he asked, I was like, why not? But I just haven't. It's not in the rules.
Yeah.
Okay.
So first thing is first, I did really enjoy playing. I did have a fun time sort of trying to optimize my turns and everything and trying to get the most out of everything I was doing. I definitely sort of got a bit lost in the game at points. So yeah, definitely is a cool concept here, and I think it's definitely a like there's definitely something here. I wrote down notes throughout, and so they're not all in a particular order. I tried to go through quickly and try and organize it a little bit, but I'm just essentially going to go down this list and try and remember what I was thinking when I wrote it down. Slotting into spots happened that turn. Oh yeah, that was something that was definitely very important and wasn't necessarily super intuitive. Is like when I'm started a turn, that when I get a new card partway through my turn, I can place it in the same row. Like this physically being on top of it sort of makes it seem like this is locked in. I liked being able to slip it in, and I don't think it should necessarily not be that, but that is something that with teaching is important to really highlight, because I think that is important strategically and may not be intuitive to everyone. What was just this was just on Trevor's. There was just a thought. I sort of I think I have several thoughts in the sort of minion realm. I do think that minions are a little bit overpowered at the moment. What is the setup for minions on the board?
So on the board,
Yeah.
it's three of each player's minions, basically randomly. The bottles and the minions are randomly dealt to the spaces. Yeah.
Got it. Yeah, I felt like there were a lot of minions placed out initially, which I get, like if your first thing has to do with a minion and there's not much out, then you have to like travel a distance, or you have to like, it feels like you have to work harder to get to it. But the fact that it's not like a big deal if you don't complete this until later on in the game, because you can be building him up.
It actually worked out better for you.
Yeah, like it honestly was advantageous that I didn't clear that one off for a while. Yeah, so I think that maybe tweaking around with how the minions or how the walkie-talkies, the radios work a little bit, just because it did feel like these radio actions were just so much better than any other action. Like the only other action that I cared about other than radio was moving occasionally, just because this is essentially get the bottle of your choice often, or deal damage. It's like it just does a lot. And for most of the game, there was minions in enough places that I pretty much always got to choose exactly what I wanted to do. There was like a couple of times where I had to be strategic about what radios I was triggering on a turn, but it felt like very often if a radio was triggering, I knew that I could get what I wanted, regardless of what radio it was.
Well, that's why I don't have any double radios, because my thought was that I do agree.
Mhm.
The balance for me up to this point, the balance has been that your captain does have to be somewhere advantageous to actually still be able to see the benefits from the cards, because if all you're ever getting is the rewards from radios and not the secondary action that's on the cards, then it's gonna suffer. And I appreciate that you said that movement was the other one that you got, because you had a very nice balance of moving and
Radio.
radios, because I mean I remember you moving across the board a couple of times.
Yeah. There was
So
one time that I teleported, but yeah, other than that, I was always moving in a turn. There was never a turn that I didn't move.
yeah, okay.
But yeah, that's something that I definitely felt like was the key to my success in always being able to get what I needed, is having lots of radios. And every turn I was triggering 1 or 2 radios, and even triggering 3 radios sometimes. And that just, it felt like I always just got to choose exactly what I wanted to do. I had to be a
You
little
have any
bit
thoughts
careful
on
how
how
I
to
did it.
balance that a little bit? Or
I would having less minions in this at the start would be one of the ways that I would think to do that. Or
I mean, I could do like a 2 of each type and then have a blank basically that you just remove from the board for setup, so you can divvy them out.
and yeah, I think just like the amount of minions that were on the board at the beginning made them the radio actions still quite strong in the beginning, and then throughout the entire game there was still like lots. They weren't getting removed from the board all that quickly, and so
Yeah, and that's
there was
tough too,
just
because
always a lot.
sometimes there aren't nearly as many.
Mhm.
I recognize that there's a decent amount of RNG in this game.
Yeah, but I think 3 for each, and like at the beginning, just it did feel like a lot, and maybe it's a bit of a player count thing. Is it 3 for each regardless of player count, or is it?
So on the 2-player I dropped it down, but on the 3-player I kept it the same. And then just the missing player, you would just spawn for 3 and 2-player, the missing captain's minions you would just put on the board at the end of a round. That's how that's working.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and sort of tying into this, to me, I really think the main imbalance that I felt is around the minions, and I think there's a couple of different levers that you can sort of pull to adjust it slightly. The other thing that I think for a new player, and I think this was brought up a little bit with what Trevor was saying, is the sort of minion allegiance becomes essentially meaningless after you get a couple of different radios. But like thematically, it sort of could be confusing or like not necessarily intuitive, that it doesn't really matter whose minion is whose, as long as you are triggering whatever symbol you're triggering, is you just get to do that. And
Yeah,
I think that's
seeing.
another thing that makes the minions very strong, is the fact that you can get anyone's minions, control of anyone's minions.
Yeah, what's tough is people really like that.
I do like it as well, but I do think that is part of what is making the minions strong. So just like I'm just, I guess, trying to bring up points that I think make the minions good, and then there might just be 1 or 2 of these different points that you could tweak a little bit to bring their power level down a little bit, just because, yeah, I think the thesis of what I'm trying to say is the minions are good, there's something, I think something needs to change about them. And I'm just trying to bring up a couple of different points that I think make the minions good. I'll if I think of specific solutions, then I'll try and give them to you. But I do not have a specific solution right now that I think
Can I
is like
throw out a thought
the
I just
fix.
had? Would
Yeah.
you still feel interested in collecting a card if it just had another player's minion on it?
I think that would certainly help. It would certainly be a much better card than this one.
Yeah.
And so if this card exists, then it's certainly just a radio would be reasonable. I think that would make it really interesting decisions for me to decide if I want to get someone's radio or not, because I would want to like that I think that would help with balance with these double bottle cards. With these
Yeah, because then
bottle
double
cards,
bottles would be good if you could make it work.
yeah, because that's essentially 2 points, but you need to be able to position yourself in a position where you can actually utilize that, which
Right.
I think is not necessarily easy. I think that having like a radio and a bottle or a radio and a movement is just so much better than other options. That I do think that the radios could be on a card of their own, and
Okay.
I would still like, for maximum points, I would want all my cards to potentially give me 2 points, but I think the radios being super versatile would help with that balance. Yeah.
It'd also help you keep being able to score off of the captains and stuff if you kept that the way it is.
Yeah.
Without you still getting 2 things every radio card,
Mhm.
and so
Yeah, I agree. I think radios could be on their own.
okay.
Yeah.
As long as everyone else, I mean, I'm very willing to try that. If everyone else thinks it would still be interesting and
Yeah, I mean, I
not
can't
too
speak for
slow,
everyone, so if anyone else has thoughts on that, but that is something that I thought about, and I do think I might still want to take a radio by itself.
The other thing you could do to like make some of the cards more valuable is maybe when you take it, you know, like, oh, it's a double bottle card, and you're not really sure if you're going to be able to play those. You're not going to be sure if there's going to be any in the room when you do it. You know how, well, I'm throwing out games again, but Clank and other games like that have cards that when you take it, you also get something immediately, whatever that something is, to help balance off that card if you think this is weaker than the radio card, for example.
that's good. I worry about giving people the resources because
Yeah.
I feel like it takes away from the whole point of going and seeking out specific items and minions. But what about
Yeah.
this? Because I have thought of a couple things like there's actually a round event system I'm working on that introduces some zany things for like replayability and stuff. But what if like one of these double bottle cards let you swap out a party objective card or something? Would something like that be interesting to you?
It's interesting. I think the main thing is bringing down the power level of the minions rather than
Yeah, so you think that would
them.
incentivize it?
But
yeah,
I can't speak to that. It'd be interesting in that it's something different, but not that I think that it.
Yeah, it does. That would make
solving a
another thing
problem.
you have to pay attention to, like because it'd have to be on a different spot on the. Well, I mean, maybe you can. Yeah, it'd be tough to get 3 things in there. I don't know. You know.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
I
don't know
think
what that, I don't even know if there's something you have that would be, you know, weak enough to want to incentivize that wouldn't be then making that card too strong. It's just a thought if there's, you know, something that
okay.
comes up while you're
The
running over
next
stuff.
note that I have written down here is just about it being a drinking theme, specifically alcoholic. I just think that like these look like soda, and I think that you just open your game up to being a lot more accessible if this is soda and there's not an alcoholic part of it. Just because I have like sober friends and stuff, and they would be not interested in playing a game that has like collecting alcohol as being a major part of the game. So just a little thematic thing.
It's funny you should mention that, Sasha, because I knew that it was, tequila was mentioned and other things.
Mhm.
But I was looking at these as pop bottles
Yeah.
while we
Yeah.
were playing.
And it's a vending machine. You don't usually find alcohol in vending machines, but yeah.
Yeah. I
Um,
mean, you could even write that into the storyline that these guys are different kind of people. They get off on pop. They don't get off on alcohol.
or whatever. Yeah.
But
Yeah. And I think that's just like a sort of uh your audience shrinks if you make it alcoholic. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Initial placement order. Oh, we didn't do it, but I assume there's something to do with like where you place your person, your captain is in an order of turn order or something. You sort of just had us do it randomly, and since we didn't know
That
the game,
be
we
a
sort of just
thing,
went randomly.
but it seems to be a wash in my experience up to this point, as far as who has the advantage in the turn order.
Mhm.
That I in with a desire to expedite it, I just getting into the play, I've just
Mhm.
been letting people just put them, because I'm already limiting people to the 3 rooms with their minion type, and that's just because it's a little crazy for them to start in the room with
Mhm.
that's like perfect. Um
Yeah, I get that.
so anyways, that's why it's currently like that.
Yeah. Were we able to start in these rooms? I can't remember. So we just couldn't start in these two. Is
You
that
just
right?
couldn't start in the first 2 or middle 2, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like so these spots feel like they give you the most options because you can go to 3 different rooms, plus you can teleport. Um, and like, so if I am not first in turn order, I'm not guaranteed to get to a vending machine. And so having more options once it gets to my turn seems like strategically better. Like maybe very minimally, but that's why I would care about the order that we choose where we go.
Okay, well, I can definitely add that back in if
But
that seems.
that's me personally, and if the sort of target audience is more sort of gateway plus then people are maybe not going to care about it as much. But from like a gamer trying to min max,
Yeah, I guess
would
I'm
be
trying
my
to be
thought.
somewhere in the middle as far as difficulty goes.
Got it.
So
All right.
I could go either way. I could definitely go either way on that one. I will think about that.
Cool. Little thing, and this very much could be a TDS thing, but when first looking at this, I was like, so these are blue, this is green, and then the ship is teal. I was like definitely confusing this and this one. I get that there's these like there's outlines to make it so that color doesn't necessarily matter, but like when I'm
Yeah.
looking quickly, just the green, blue, and
Yeah.
sort of tealy.
I'm definitely
sort of
willing
mixed
to
together.
change that. It's the ship is one of the oldest things in the game, actually, because I had it done way back just to sort of conceptualize the whole FTL ship thing.
Mhm.
So I'm very willing to change that up so that's more it's
Yeah,
more
and it is not a big thing at all. It just when we first started, I thought that we had one color here, and then this whole front section was another color. So
Yeah.
I at first glance I thought it was asymmetric, like different sized compartments, but then I realized, oh wait, no, this is connected to the blue.
yeah.
And that was just
I
first
gotcha.
perception.
Yeah.
Not it didn't ever cause an actual problem for me, but seemed like oh yeah, just seems like a lot of minions at first. On player boards, and this is more sort of graphic designy thing, making it very or maybe a little bit more clear, like that you visually that you can like put this diagonally, because I think that is something that is important to know. And it, like these just being square cards and not having any sort of indications in the corners sort of showing that you could like place this way, like having a slot or a slight outlined slot or something that makes it clear that you can place them diagonal or something.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either.
exactly, but that is
I see
something
what you're
that when I
saying.
was first playing, I would not have assumed that I could place it diagonally, and
Yeah,
so it was.
I'm hesitant to add like the guides you mentioned to the
Mhm.
cards just because I'm already pretty limited on my space for
Yeah,
like
no,
what I want to do on them. But
I
how would you feel about this if I had like instead of the words I have there defining it as a command line, what if I just had something on there that sort of dictated the placement on the grid, your option,
yeah, just
like
something
that?
to just sort of visually. Yeah, I agree with you that having a visual representation on all these cards would definitely clutter it up too much visually. But yeah, just somewhere visually to remind players that they can place it diagonally, I think would help for the first time playing.
Okay,
Yeah.
I agree.
And then on top of that, just having the icons in a place on the cards so that you're not covering them up. There was like a couple of times with like placing it diagonally or something that like
Sure.
I feel like I had to like move it off to be like, oh yeah, okay, that's what that was.
Uh-huh.
It's not like that big of a deal, but I did sort of wonder if there was like an area of the card that wouldn't
Yeah,
be covered up.
I haven't thought of a place myself yet
Yeah,
that it would never be an issue.
like my thought process is that if you like always put this off to the left of each of these and then always put this to the bottom of these or the top, however you wanted to do it.
Right. I feel like diagonally it's always going to get messy though.
But there's always this top corner if you do the left and bottom.
Well, if you go the other diagonal though, you're going to cover it though, aren't you? If you go like this.
Oh, yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, never
Um,
mind.
no, I'm with you. I don't think that's like
I,
ideal. I see.
I,
Someone said I should make it like transparent with just the number spaces
mm,
being not.
Yeah.
Um, so
but yeah,
what do you think
no,
of that?
it's. I don't know if it's necessary. That was just something that I was thinking about because I saw other people also be like, "Oh wait, where are my
Sure.
things?" Um,
Yeah.
okay. Storage maximums. That is something that I wrote down as like a question. There wasn't storage maximums, and I did feel like I was able to take advantage of there not being storage maximums.
Okay, so it used to be where you used to not even have to score if you didn't want to, and then of course someone just stacked up a ton of stuff and tried to
Yeah.
score it all at the end. So I was doing forced scoring, but like the problem is you could still gate it by just not. What really worked for you, in my opinion, was that you just didn't score or didn't want to score that one thing.
Yeah, it was a minion thing, and
Yeah.
I didn't. I specifically didn't want to unlock my extra stuff because it allowed me to sort of build up.
What if
Take
you had the
actions.
second slot open already, and so the amount of things you could stockpile without forced scoring happening um would be lower because you'd already have a second option. And
That's
then
an
I
interesting solution. That does sort of like getting the third option. It sort of starts to limit the amount that loot boxes do.
yeah, right. I know. Yeah.
But that is an interesting potential solution if scoring is a forced
Loot
thing.
boxes could still let you like replace a party objective card or something. That might be interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just trying to make the most of my time with you guys. So
No, totally. Okay. I feel like yeah, this is something that I wrote down. I don't necessarily fully agree with this now. But I said it felt like a bummer to leave my action stick where it was when I like I sort of wanted to be like moving it around in anticipating for the next one. I get that it's like telling me that I can't do the same spot again. But that was just something that I was sort of thinking about where once my turn started, I was like sort of picturing it in my head what I was going to be doing on my next turn. And that was honestly, I think that's fine.
Yeah, because people forget and then they do it again.
Yeah.
That's what's happened to me.
I wrote this down because that was a thought that I had, but as I played it, it wasn't that big of a issue. Change character base colors. Yeah, we already did that. But just TTS mod having the base colors being the correct colors definitely helps a lot. Can only attack each player once per round. That definitely is important, and I don't think that was something that was explained.
I did say
initially.
it, but it got lost in the
Okay.
miasma, I think. So.
But yeah, and the other sort of like corner case things or needing to be able to explain is like, so is it's once per round, what each person can only be at, so it's not like a minion can attack them and I can attack them. It's a minion, all right, only one person. I just know there's a couple questions in there that if I wasn't playing it with you, I would be referencing the rules of, so how does that work? Can I score 2 points out of the same person if I attack them with a minion and attack them with myself? Or
this did come up at Gen Con. I'm going to add a reference for like vending machine stuff. I'm going to put a little reference up on the top of the vending machine, I think, or next to the vending machine.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was thinking I could do the same thing. This is going away, this big text here, I think, because it's not super important that this be here. And my plan was to just enlarge the reference on the character.
Got it.
Matt, and maybe move it up and just have it take up a little bit more room and be a little bit clearer. And then just have some general ship, interaction stuff with like loot boxes and stuff be on the, on the board.
I was curious, what is this?
Yeah. Okay. So there's a couple of other things I'm working on because the game, they're using existing resources and I'm just trying to add like replayability because that was one comment I got at Gen Con is people wanted it to be a little bit different potentially on other plays. So I've been working on a round event thing where every round you would flip one over. That's what this space would be flip a card over and it would dictate a couple of rooms. You'd place a couple little tokens down and then it would be a modifier for people that walk into that room or a different way that you could score when you're in that room. It would probably take I don't have it to show you, so it'd be a little difficult to
I understand the concept of what you're doing with that. That is something that I would just there was actually a podcast episode game design podcast about events cards and stuff in games, and I think doing some research on how event cards would playing a bunch of different games that use event cards and finding something that like that feels good, because I think that can be something that can really bug some people is event cards that like just will randomly hose your turn or something.
Oh, sure. And I was going to make it completely optional because and that's the reason I showed you this too, because I'm working on it. Like I have the cards, they're just not imported into the game yet. I believe this is the core game. It's just an option I'm working on for like people who want to do something different with it that isn't a ton of work for me. Same thing with I'm working on an asymmetrical back for the action mat. That sort of leans into the character's identity, play styles, if the captain had one, such a thing. Just so people have a different way to play, because it would use the same mat. I'd just be, doing something different with the back other than just having art. So
cool. Yeah. I'd be interested to see how that works. Next thing that I have written down, I definitely did feel like there was a last player advantage in that I often, even if I didn't sandbag my points a lot, I think in general I would always have more options for getting points for shooting players, because I'd be going last, just because if the turn orders, if everyone's averaging the same number of points, I'm always going to be getting those points later. And if I shoot people a couple times, then sure, that will push me ahead a little bit. But it does seem like that gives, it doesn't seem, I don't really see much advantage to going earlier, and I do see an advantage to going later. And so just being,
How would you balance that, do you think? What would your
like the main thing is maybe making this be like hitting someone that is not in last place, or just changing it from being like, maybe it's just the person that has the, yeah, I don't know. I think it has to do with player with higher score. I think it could be different. It's like if you're not in first or something, you can hit all the other people, and so it's like you don't really want to be in first, and so everyone's sort of trying to find the right balance of whereas in a normal game, whoever's in first, sorry, I guess I shouldn't move these just in case you want to
well, it's okay. I think we've got the idea.
but like if we're all sort of vying for first, then people, like if I was here and Evan was here or let's say like this, Evan's turn, if he got any points on his turn, then he would be ahead of me, and then I could be scoring off of him. But on his turn, he can only score off of these two people, even though we're like at the same point total in the game. So if he could score off of anyone, as long as he wasn't in first place, then that would make us more equal, if that makes sense.
Yeah, let me think. Okay.
I don't think that is just like the solution, but that is like something that I was thinking about. It just,
Yeah,
that,
I mean
it's like
that is compelling.
giving options.
Yeah, that's okay.
And then
Yeah.
you're just slightly punishing the first player rather than punishing everyone that is not the furthest back or something.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, I kind of like that. I'm gonna think about that.
Yeah. So is completing quest optional? That was a question I had, and you've answered that. That completing quest is just happens. Cards that are worse than starting spot seem bad. Yeah. So I think the just teleport or the just get this, I think those are, I think like that is just not a good card to have. Like I would never choose this card, or I don't think I'd ever choose the just teleport.
It's only here that's actually just, this is the first time it's been played with those, and the only reason it's here is because
if you cover this up,
I didn't have them at Gen Con, and people wanted to cover the middle space but still be able to potentially get them, especially the teleporter, because people felt like it would be worth it. Well, at least this is what they told me. They felt like there are situations where it'd be useful to them to maybe slot it at the beginning of their turn and still be able to move from one part of the ship to another, because what was happening when I didn't have that is people could get stuck in the corners.
Yeah, I think that you could treat the teleport just like you treat the running. Like it's the same sort of value. Like if you're here, the teleport is you can move to 3 different locations. Move from here is you can move to 3 different locations. I feel like teleport and move is essentially the same value, but if you have a card that is just teleport, that's like, it seems not very good. And then
okay, so you're saying you'd like me to add something to it?
like if you have a run and grab a bottle, you should have a teleport and grab a bottle.
The way with what we're talking about with minions and stuff, that makes sense.
And then you just don't need this one at all, because you can the radio symbols are just there.
Now, I mean, do you agree I should keep it as a starting option, because I have
people have like these being here? Yeah, I think that's totally fine. Okay. I just think that getting this card would feel bad. I didn't get it, so I felt good.
You are correct.
Yeah. But yeah.
Well, see, now I feel bad because I just put that in there. So literally, it's a brand new thing I'm
Yeah, I
testing.
mean,
So,
sometimes you have to test it out to realize that, oh, yep, that's not good.
yeah.
Because yeah, this just seems like a worse radio, and the fact that we have radios with doing something, it's just like, okay, well,
Yeah,
let's just
sure.
actively, and radios being by themselves, I think would be interesting. I would recommend testing it out because I would be interested in playing that. Radios seem way better than. Yep, I said this. Icon. Oh yeah, okay. I think that's everything that I have written down. I definitely tend to ramble a little bit, but that's sort of what we seem to do here on Playtest This towards the feedback stage.
No, I appreciate it. It helped me figure some stuff out as opposed to people just throwing out an idea that I can't, flush out.
Yeah. Yeah, hopefully some of that was useful. I definitely did enjoy playing the game. I would be interested in playing it in the future with some tweaks. I do feel like this current iteration, the biggest takeaway for me is the minions felt overpowered.
Okay, well, that's definitely going to change. I like the single minion thing. That makes
Mhm.
sense at this point. It's one of those things that it ended up where it was because of other things that were changing in the game, and it's like we haven't revisited it, until
Mhm.
now. So perfect. Yeah, perfect.
Oh wait, one last thing I don't think I actually wrote down. Oh, I did actually write it down. We were talking about the idea of the getting a lot of your minions out, or maybe getting all of your minions out, or something, being a sort of shoot the moon type of. Maybe it doesn't necessarily have to be a victory, but like at end of the game, you score points if you like had all your minions out, or something. Could just be a little. I could strategically be going for this thing. Not that it would necessarily be good or pay off most of the time, but it could just be something that I am trying to do. Currently,
different.
the way that it is you're just placing out a minion every turn, so it's entirely reliant on your opponents just not removing your minions. So, but that was just something that, like, thematically, I like this idea of like your minions are taking over the ship, like that feels like thematically like that should mean something.
Well, I used to have a symbol for spawning a minion in, and then when I introduced this free action place a minion thing, it got removed. It's like, okay, no, there's always minions on the board. It works.
Mhm.
But I could reintroduce the spawning a minion thing, where it still works.
I don't mean to say like you need to have this. It's just something that I think it felt like there's an opportunity there for doing something with that, because I have a bunch of guys on the ship. I have more guys on the ship than anyone else. It feels like that could mean something. I don't actually know if that's true. I just said that.
Okay, I'm writing it down.
Yeah. But
Okay.
that's it. Evan, you can go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. So, let's catch up with the chat and just kind of blaze
Okay.
through comments there.
BRB.
I can't even see the chat.
Yeah, I'll read them too. Adam says, minions as a finite resource. If you went to deploy one and couldn't, you could grant a bonus like a loot box or a point or another resource. It would compel others to kill your minions with their actions. Placing your minion within one room of your captain instead of matching the vending machine symbol would make the placement maybe more interesting. Asymmetrical powers would be awesome, but likely, design balance challenge.
Yeah,
I am
working on it.
A once per game ability, unique to the captain or random from a deck, could be cool for
that's in the asymmetrical version.
Nice. Choosing to save these once per game abilities until the last call round, or maybe that's when they become available, could eliminate those letdown moments when the winner would otherwise be obvious. That's interesting.
I missed the first part of that one.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Choosing, basically, you don't get to use your fancy asymmetrical power until the last call round, which makes it tougher to know who's going to win for sure. Maybe. Um, or maybe that's my interpretation of what Adam was saying. Hit the captain. They drop an item from their inventory in the room they're in, or maybe that's too feel bad. Sam says, is the problem the catch-up mechanism or the stacking resources? Adam says, hit a captain, get a point, or steal a resource from their tableau. Messing with other players' resources is rough. Thematically, it's appropriate, though. Sasha says stacking. They named some games.
I think it's stacking, but
they named some games that have programming. A card where instead of hacking all minions of that type forever, you instead replace one of those minions with your own once. This way, you can only ever control your own minions. It's interesting. So you're not controlling other minions, you're replacing other minions with yours.
yeah,
Sway them to your side. Transparent plastic programmed movement sticks.
that
Acrylic,
is being considered.
acrylic isn't that expensive if you go bulk. 10 to 20 cents more during production. Oof. That's too expensive. Yeah. Personal player aids. Oh, good night. Sam says he'll catch my 4-hour feedback session in the morning.
Okay.
Night all.
Great.
Gorgeous Sam. Okay, so my feedback. Let me start just by asking a couple of questions. The theme boarding party. I'm a dad. I love the pun. I think that's awesome. But I definitely agree with Sasha. I would definitely veer soda instead of alcohol. Just considering your art and the look of the thing, I would just go soda.
Yeah.
Not to mention that it opens up your audience a bit, or doesn't close it down.
Well, currently it's only 1/3 booze. I realize some of the starting things mention booze, but it is coffee, energy drinks, or soda, and then beer was the other one. But
Right.
I mean, I can change.
I would just that's my opinion. If it's a party, why are we shooting each other?
Okay, yeah, I've had this come up before. Here's the thing: the pirates. Okay, so the party is loose in that this is the way these pirates are partying. They're willing to drink, they want to drink drinks and they want to cause mayhem. Okay. So I just figured pirates, they can party, but also they're dangerous, right? And they want to stick it to the other, captains that are also on the ship because it is ultimately a competition.
So there's 4 pirate captains on the same ship.
Yes.
Shooting at each other and no one ever gets hurt.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
It's a little weird.
And nobody's driving the ship.
I do.
Yeah, and that
I
too.
do love the theme, but the shooting each other thing just to me stands out in a really weird way.
Okay.
It could literally be we're playing tag or what, like it could be anything else. But shooting each other feels a little weird for the theme to me.
Okay.
Similarly, it feels like there's some kind of overarching thematic thing that I'm missing, like with my minions. Like, what are my minions doing and why? Why, like what is our ultimate goal? Or maybe you said that. What did you say was our ultimate goal?
I mean, the ultimate goal again is to prove that you're the ultimate party captain of the galaxy just by completing these objectives. So it's a little arbitrary. Here's the thing. I'm not legally allowed to say that it's a Mad Lib, but the opening story for the game in the rule book has, let me just flip the page here. Oh wait, it's already open. Okay. Has something that's very much like that, where you basically build the reasons why, or at least insert enough that the lore is somewhat specific to the player group.
Well, that's funny.
That fills this out. Yeah. But basically there was a previous party captain of the galaxy, and this is how things are done in this universe. This is the ritual, and so whoever wins here based on these somewhat arbitrary party requirements is going to become the new titled you know,
Yeah.
party captain of the
Yeah.
galaxy. So
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, shooting each other and that doesn't actually harm us just feels weird unless it actually is like laser tag or something, something that wouldn't harm you if you got shot. Um, yeah. Um, loot boxes. What's the thematic on a loot box?
uh, well, the ship has stuff to loot. Um, that's it. I figured loot is a fun idea to parties. They're kind of like presents, but more in line with the idea that you are sort of pillaging a ship that has been set up for such an occasion.
Okay.
Um,
The
yeah.
ship has been set up for that.
I mean, even if you're boarding a random ship, a pirate school would be to loot, right?
Mhm.
And so part of the ritual of this here is the same thing. It's just a group looting, several groups looting a ship as opposed to. Also, the vending machines popping out loot, I thought was fitting because if these vending machines have been roaming the ship, they're just dropping off other things that would be inside of them. I kind of see them loosely more like a Japanese vending machine that's capable of holding anything kind
Yeah.
of thing, as opposed to your standard vending machine.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
Yeah.
why we're here. So
Yeah. Um, I think you could make use of a wild bottle symbol, um, in place of the things where you do like all three with slashes.
yeah, I used to
Um,
have a black one with a question mark.
yeah, or an empty one or whatever.
That was doing that.
People didn't like it.
Yeah, well, people wanted to see them or options, but I could
Yeah.
definitely go either way on that.
Um, at first, I didn't understand the radios, but that was just in the teach. Eventually, it made total sense. One of my one of my big feedbacks is just how many edge case rulings exist, and it's just like it's too many. Um, like a few of them. In any given game, you're usually going to have one or two things that you just need to edge case rule. Um, you got a lot. The new card can go in not yet used for, don't have to slot. Oh yeah. Your new card can go either not in your board or in your board, under your stick in a place you haven't done yet, or on your board somewhere else. Or you can just not put it in and play it whenever. Like the timing looseness of that, um, is a little loose, and then just like I think Sasha said too, like the fact that you can put the card under your stick in a spot you haven't done yet, um, it's just very loose, and to have to like, yeah, I would like just pick a thing, whether it's like when you gain a card you stick it off to the side, and then at the start of your next turn you can put it somewhere or whatever, just like pick one timing or one thing to do with it.
I could see doing where you have to. I think the most acceptable to me would be you slot it when you get it if you're going to pick one.
Yeah, I mean that's
Um,
what I would do. But,
I still kind of like the idea of them putting it under an action they haven't played, just because people do like to see a return, and they also can't play it on their next turn anyways if
mhm.
they put it there.
Yeah.
Well, they can't play the whole row on the next
Yeah,
turn.
right. Yeah, I would just skinny down, so it's not like, well, you can do anything with it. I would just be like, this is where it goes. Here's what you do.
Okay, well, if it sounds
Um,
good to everyone, I'll do slot when grabbed. So, or
um,
I would not have liked that with the
no, okay.
bottles.
Oh, with the bottles, yeah, right, because you wouldn't want to slot it. Okay,
I wouldn't want to slot over something that maybe I thought wasn't as valuable as, or like I might I might have thought that everything on my board was already more valuable than what I drew. So I don't know about slotting, but I do agree that maybe having a specific time to slot. I think Evan was mentioning maybe at the beginning of your turn, slot them. If you don't, you gotta wait for your next turn.
yeah, okay, all right, sure.
um, yeah, the placing the captains at the beginning of the game definitely depends on the group that sits at the table. The people that I play with are gonna go back and forth, being like, oh, you're gonna put your guy there. Well, I'm gonna move my guy over here. Oh wait, no, you're putting the guy. Well, I'll just wait till everybody else places, then I'll place. Um, so I would definitely prescribe how that is done rather than leaving it open. Um, choose vending output machine only one time. Right, yeah. The differences between loot boxes and vending machines was all very rules edgy, confusy. And I would skinny those down a lot. Just be like, this is how this works, this is how this works, and that's it. Um, just find some rule that works. Um, so there's not like three edge case rules uh, controlling those. Um, Speaking of vending machines and loot boxes, I think you could make them more interestingly different. Right now, you have like a lot of overlap. You have three three different ways to get loot box cards. One of which is loot boxes. Um, another of which is shooting another captain, and then another of which is the vending machine pops out. Or no, what was the other one? My
Yeah, the
brain's
vending
my
machine. Yeah,
my brain's dying.
you got loot boxes, shoot, vending
Oh yeah, the
machine.
vending machine lets you select from the buy row. Loot boxes let you draw from the top, and shooting a guy lets you draw from the top. So there's three different ways of getting at them. So it just feels very like unfocused. You know what I mean? As far as like how you access things. And I want a more meaningful, obvious difference between like why do I want to get a loot box? Why do I want the vending machine? Make them kind of stand out from each other a little bit more. Other than just like vending machines seem to be a little bit better because you get to choose from the buy row. But you know, um, yeah, I wanted a more meaningful difference between those two things. Um, where am I? I think if you wanted to, your game is kind of, at least in the TTS version, right? I haven't played it on the table, but at least from what I've played, it's kind of fighting this like theme, party time, fun idea, and an hour and 40-minute game, um, where with 13 minutes between turns and stuff like that. Um, which you already said it's faster on the table, which is great. But you still might be fighting theme versus play time, even at 50, 60 minutes. Um, kind of like the theme and the mechanisms and the kind of like the, boarding party makes me think more like 45 would be the, like 30, 45. But you do have a lot of components and stuff, so that makes it look a little longer too. So, maybe 50 minutes is a fine spot for it. But still, in my head, I feel like there's a lot of streamlining that can be done. Um, and cutting off a lot of edge cases is one of those streamlines that will really help playtime. Because just then you just don't have to keep all that junk in your brain. You just be like, what do I do on a turn? I do this. Great, done. Um, but one of the things I was thinking about is um, all of the little bottles. I'm not convinced you need all the little bottles. Like, can't a vending machine just like be this deck of cards, and when you go to the vending machine, you draw a card? Or maybe there's like a buy row of three vending machine cards or whatever, and then you just take that card. Something like that.
I'm
Um,
confused. So you're saying you want people to be able to take like groups of stuff from like collecting
sure,
a card?
right. I'm saying you can get rid of all the little bottles.
And just have like what's on the spaces then? A card?
I mean, it I'm saying it's an opportunity, not like it would be like, that easy switch and then the game is ready again. It would it would be like a whole shift.
Well, yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. But to me, the bottles and the differentiation between the colors of the bottles, like you have two um, random elements. You have which bottle collection cards you grabbed and which bottle goals are currently out or have been out or are upcoming in your goals. So you got the two random elements that kind of can either work for you or work against you. And then you have what you can control, which is going around to the different places where they're sitting on the floor. Um, but just, um, I guess, to me, I think there's an opportunity to skinny down the gameplay um, by not having all of those little markers everywhere.
If I could just riff off of you a little bit
Yeah.
with this concept, this just going off of the thing they were just talking about previously, if loot boxes gave you these cards and vending machines or attacking other players gave you the bottles, then you wouldn't need any stuff on the board other than the loot boxes and the vending machines, because you're either looting players uh, or you're going to the vending machines to get bottles. And so you're like, yeah. And again, this is riffing off of a sort of changing more about the game
Oh yeah.
than just doing a
I
little
mean, you'd have to
change.
completely redesign a lot of things. Like movement would have to be entirely different. I mean, because if vending machines get away from you in a build like that, I mean, then you can't, you can't get anything. So it's like,
Well,
do I
you
have
just
vending
loot a
machines?
player. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, but
Yeah.
like obviously, like us giving suggestions and specific things to do when it's like a big change is it's hard to
I
do
do
that.
see
But
how
just
it could be really nice.
conceptually, there's a lot of stuff on the board that is makes it seem very cluttered, and I think that's what Evan was getting at.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm kind of like most of my brain notes were kind of about like the slight like what the game kind of tells you it is, and then what you're actually playing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand it's a strange juxtaposition. It was kind of on purpose, but I see that it isn't, necessarily. It would be a turnoff for some people. I do appreciate that. So
Yeah. Right. And just depending on your target audience, obviously you'll make the right calls. But if you wanted to skinny down the flow of the game, I think there's an opportunity there for that, where and differentiation between the loot boxes and the things where vending machines give you sodas and loot boxes give you cards or whatever. Um, uh, Keep scoring, score replace. Initially, I really didn't like that you could keep scoring and replacing these goals, like the idea of it. But then when it was playing out, it was actually kind of a fun moment. So I disagreed with myself later. Um, Turn, place the minion. Um, yeah, kind of in the whole hierarchy of things in my brain. The cards with the bottles tend to be the worst cards because you as a player have to literally be in the spot and your minions can't do it. And if you're in a spot where those color bottles aren't, then those cards are even less useful. Um, and so it's just overall power value of those cards is low. Um,
do you think the minion thing we talked about would help with that? Having a minion be a single icon on a card, and then having cards that have a bottle and something else being more difficult to execute, but still giving you two things on a single card, as
I mean,
opposed to the radios that just do the one.
from a power level as the game stands, yes, the minion powers are better than the bottles for sure. And so, how do you fix that? Well, infinite ways of doing things, right? You can up regulate the power of the other cards, you can down regulate the power of the minions. Right, that's you could go either direction, and that's definitely one way of doing it. But in my head, like the bottle cards, to me, like the mixy matchy of different colored resources isn't the most interesting, and I would rather those be something else, and I would rather use those opportunities to um, take your game and streamline the process of the turn. So that these cards are where I would put like, hey, I'm going to put out a minion, or instead of having all the weird one-off rules around the vending machines and the loot boxes, I would be like, oh, my card says I get to interact with the vending machine. That's what I chose. That's one of my three actions. So literally on your turn, it's do your three actions and then score goals. Rather than putting out a minion. And then if you walk into a place that has a thing, sometimes it's this and sometimes you don't. But if you already did it earlier when you moved, then you don't do it this time. You know what I mean? Like it kind of there's a whole lot of weird timing triggers in the flow of the turn.
Yeah.
And you can
I can appreciate that. I'm gonna have to think about what I want to do with all of that information.
Yeah, right, totally. So bottles to me can totally go off the cards, and you could replace it with interaction with a loot box or a vending machine or placing a minion. Though I think those are more interesting abilities. Um, but just food for thought. Um, every spot equals anywhere on ship. I don't know what that means. Let's move on. No two minions in the same spot. Oh, that's what that's related to. Um, yeah, this is another, the minions coming out and then discarding the card, and then you get to pick where the minion goes. That's another spot where you can just like cut off a little bit of extra time and decision space. Unless you think the decision space of if you already have a minion where it happens to have been placed, then you get to make a decision. Like if that's really interesting, then that's one thing. But to me, it's like either have that be what is interesting and let me choose where my minion goes, or don't let me choose where my minion goes and move on with my turn. Rather than like sometimes I don't, sometimes I do. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. See that.
Like if that's interesting choice, then like leave it, but have me always do it. If it's not an interesting choice, don't make me do it. And like make it work one way. One way you can do that in a world where you're keeping things almost, very similar to the way it works now is instead of placing the thing down wherever I want in the same colored section, and then discarding the card, you can just cycle the card until it puts it in a spot where I don't already have one.
Yeah, I did try that way one
Didn't work
time,
well.
and people went through. There were
Too
times
too
people
much
went through
cycling.
so many cards that
Yeah,
it wasn't fun
yeah.
either.
Fiddly.
I mean, my ultimate answer is, I think you should just let the minions go where they go, and then have your cards allow you to like move your minions and stuff. But um, yeah. Loot box, party objective choice. Yeah. Loot box. No. Oh yeah, just more about the little fiddly differences between how you do or don't interact with loot boxes and vending machines. Take loot box and vending machine, yes. And I even after clarifying with you like 3 times how they worked, I still messed it up. Um, maybe that's just my brain. Um, yeah, add an interaction on the cards for the vending machines and the things. Make them meaningfully different. Yes, we already talked about that. Just have a minion icon. No interact with vending machine 2 times. That's another one. Each captain Each captain being attacked maximum one time per round is, I understand why it's there because of this thing. Um, but obviously, if you change that, um, then you can get rid of that thing. Did that sentence make any sense?
Yes, yeah.
Okay,
You're saying if
okay,
it
okay, good.
changes, then you could open it up. Yeah,
Right, and just
I do see.
get rid of a rule. Yeah,
I
if
do
you end
see
up
that.
changing that. But yeah, if it's worth a point, I see why you did
Sure.
it. That'd be an example of an exception rule that like makes, like might actually need to be there in a certain situation. Um, Scoring at the end of the round. This is where I wrote down I actually do like it. Um, I realized you do take multiple loot boxes, but not more than one vending machine. Yes, when people started talking about the idea of running out of minions, it got me really thinking about how do you lean into, what this game looks like it is going to provide you. And I think you have a few opportunities. Um, One is you have these sections, right? Green, blue, and orange. And yes, you can modify the coloring to make it more obvious what quadrants are what. But um, it would be really cool to have some variance in some strategy stuff, as people have mentioned with the minions. If you run out, yeah, that could be a cool thing because you have too many out or whatever. But there could be like a capture the flag style thing where if I have a minion, the first person to get a minion in all four of those rooms is going to get that orange 2 point flag or whatever. And then the first person to get a minion in each of these four gets that 2 point flag. And these, just um, something that uses what you've already got on the board visually that looks cool and interesting because those regions are distinct, and goes, yeah, well, if you get, one marker in each region, guess what? You get this fancy thing because you're the first to it. Between minions and your leader, maybe, if you have one in each spot. I don't know, just stupid idea, but
I
maybe it's
mean, no,
cool.
that sounds cool. I like that.
Just kind of leans into the visuals of it.
Sure.
Um,
Yeah.
Minion out. Right, take a loot box anytime you can't put out a minion because they ran out. Just whatever, something. Uh, Let minions stack up. You can use the radio to move them. Going last is too good? Question mark. The abilities are unbalanced. Yeah, we can do that. Pick up bottles. Yeah, just another note about bottles laying around feels weird when you don't actually get bottles from the vending machine, um, which is where it makes sense to get the bottles from.
Well, the vending machines are dropping the bottles in the story of it.
Right.
But I see. I mean, obviously, we've
Well,
talked
they're
about
not
it.
vending. They're not vending stuff. They're not vending bottles to you. They
Right.
are dropping them as they're running around.
Yeah.
They're insane. They're sentient and they're crazy. That was the
I
thought.
like it. It's funny.
It's sort of a Futurama-esque kind of
It is funny.
idea. So
It is funny.
yeah,
They should have shivs and they can like, stab you.
yeah.
Access to cards. 2 times planning and yeah, I already talked about that. If you ended up not having if you ended up not doing these little guys, then your board here could just be sliders. Where you're like, boop 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 boop. I slide up my green thing to here because I've got two of them.
Yeah, I can see that.
I already said that. Downtime between play. I already talked about that. We already talked about that. Just put stuff. Oh, in a world where these things are still around, you could if you were looking for a way to limit them, you could have some sort of like, if you can place it on the thing to fulfill it, then it can go there, and otherwise you have a maximum storage of 3 or whatever. Yeah, just got some kind of thing.
Yeah, no, that's good.
Um, let's see. The last call round, I it's I don't think the callback to the last call in a bar is enough to add an extra round to the game. It's just value wise. But
When I just ended it, people didn't like that either because they didn't have another opportunity to finish anything. So,
yeah,
but
I mean it depends on your player base for sure. Um, but I guess maybe just on TTS it was already running long, and I was like, don't need that last
it
round.
was quite a bit longer. So I feel bad about that.
Yeah, it's TTS is that way. Okay, that's most of what I got. Is just
Well, it's quite a lot. I got a lot of notes. So
yeah.
I appreciate it. I'm gonna think a lot about it. So
yeah, obviously, some of that stuff is just little cleanup things or cool little ideas, and some of that stuff is like, well, if you want to completely change your game, which obviously, most people don't want to completely change their game, and that's totally fine too. But those were the thoughts that came to my brain. To whatever extent those end up being useful for you.
well, it's definitely gonna improve things. Yeah, no, I'm I'm gonna think about it. I'm gonna see what I could do.
What else? Sasha, Trevor, did anything I said you want to cap off anything?
I just wanted to add on. You were talking about time between turns, like between rounds. One thing that was brought up a little bit that I think could and likely would help is if it did switch to something where you get to place tiles at the beginning of your turn, then you're not gaining tiles
mid-turn,
and so I'm not like, if I could gain tiles mid-turn, but I have the entire round to decide which one. But the thing is, these are going to be changing between my turns, and so figuring out what tile I'm going to be placing here, for example, as my turn goes, I can't strategize which one I'm going to be taking, or if I do, then that one could be taken by someone else, and I have to re-strategize. And so if I could only place things that I had already gotten or I had gotten on a previous round, then I could strategize my full turn a lot easier.
Yeah.
And it would potentially cut down on the amount of time that I have to process at the beginning of my turn.
I don't see any reason I couldn't let people slot after their turn.
Right.
But before they start their next turn. And that's
actually the same thing. I just would be more frustrated doing it that way, because then if someone moves somewhere and moves the vending machine away, then that could change how I'd want to do my next turn. But that would likely help reduce the amount of time at the beginning of my turn even more. Yeah. I just I know that I'd get frustrated because I set up this turn and then people messed up my setup turn,
right?
Rather than I can plan out my turn and like, oh, that changes what I would do. So in the time that you're finishing your turn, I can change my plan, rather than having it sort of locked in at the end of my previous turn.
Okay, so you're saying you'd like if it changed where you can't slot the cards during your turn, but then you could decide exactly where you want them outside of your turn, and then just do what you can during your turn, and whatever you happen to get card wise, you're just going to do the same thing on your next round. You're just going to put them aside and think about what you can make.
Yeah, just what we were talking about, where it's simplifying how that system works. As first thing that you do on your turn, you can place any tiles that you want from your hand. Next thing that you, or hand, or if it's face up in front of you, however you want to do it, but your storage of loot, or you call it. That's the first thing that happens on your turn. Next thing that happens is the placement of this thing or whatever. and then your turn happens. That is not loose with when you can play certain things strategically optimally. I don't want to place anything until I'm right before I'm going to use it.
Right.
And that causes extra AP and stuff. And so just like, yeah, having that consistent at first thing you do on your turn is you can place out things in your hand, allows me to plan out my turn as it gets to me. If I had to do it at the end of my turn, I think it could also add like, I got this tile that I wasn't expecting because I just drew it off the top of this. And now I have to like figure out what my next turn is going to be and figure out where I'm going to place it, rather than I get this during my turn and then I have the whole everyone else's turns to be figuring
Think
out where
about
I
it.
want to place this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To be
No,
thinking
that makes
about it,
sense.
updating it.
Sure.
Yeah, totally. I there is one thing that I forgot to say is currently it seems like your end of round cleanup is literally just refilling the little tokens down in the thing. So I think you could just incorporate that into how other things are working and just not have an end of round weird thing. But
Well, the reason, okay, so it's just there because the vending machine stuff can already be a decent amount of fussiness.
sure,
And
yeah.
I didn't want to interrupt people's turns any more with another chore they've got to do when it could just all be done at once. And so it was like, do I do it now or
Oh,
do I do it, at least in my experience, to do it later? But I do see what you're saying.
yeah, and maybe it's just the way my brain works, but I don't want an entire phase of a game just to do that. I would rather
Yeah.
incorporate it.
So one really a simple thing that I forgot to mention is why are we putting tokens here? Why can't we just be like one
Because people still, if you put the cards out, this has come up. I mean, people, you put the cards out, great, but they still got to collect the stuff from supplies and then put it on the board and then discard
yeah,
the card.
if
put
they
a
go
new
to the
card
vending
out.
machine. Yeah, I don't know.
So I kind of saw it as you're just doing the work before instead of
You're
doing it.
moving tokens from a supply to here and then from here to here. And then you're flipping over cards. Yeah, I don't know. It just feels like an extra step. Like
Okay.
I'm moving tokens twice for each one of these, and I'm flipping over a card for each one. Or I could just flip over a card and move the tokens once.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. All right.
It just, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And then there's no whole extra end of round phase.
What's that?
And then you can totally erase the whole end of round cleanup phase.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Which is a whole header in a rule book.
Right. Sure.
Gonzo.
Yeah. Okay. No, it's nice. Yeah.
I got just two other
go ahead.
quick things. One is that the loot box, like we get these cards, but we don't get loot from these cards.
I know that
Well,
was one of my
okay.
things too.
I mean, you do more often than not in that when they are supposed to actually be things. Some of it's a little bit arbitrary.
Right, they'll have cool names and there'll be a neat thing that allows you to do other cool stuff better.
And a lot of them are actual items.
Yeah.
That you were going to be getting. Some of them were like there was a drink in there, and I was going to make like a little cocktaily sort of thing, but you know, whatever. Some of them were minions, but even that I was kind of okay with. I don't know. The game's it's weird on purpose, and some of it could go away maybe, and some of it I like, but
it's just one of those thematic things that is just slightly off for me. I'm not saying it's off enough that I'd have a problem playing it, but it just, when I pull this out, I get this, I put this on my board, I might not even get this loot that I'm going to enact this, but I might not have any purple things in the room where I am.
That you
So I'm not, this isn't really loot that I'm collecting. This is This is my action to be able to collect the loot. So this isn't the loot, if I'm being technical about it.
Like
Okay.
come
Yeah, I
out.
see what you're saying.
Like this isn't the money, this is the money. This is how I get the money.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, in the game, the ultimate thing you're seeking is like the drinks, I guess, and taking out the minions is like an accomplishment.
Yeah.
But technically the items themselves are what I'm considering the loot, and it's that loot is helping you in pursuit of your goal.
Yeah. And like I said, it's just it's one of those thematic things. It's not enough that I have a problem with it. It's just enough that it made me go, wait, this isn't loot. I'm not getting anything just because I get this card. It's just sitting here until I play it. And even if I play it, if I play it here, if I'm in here, I'm not getting the loot. Like I'm not getting anything. There's no loot here for me because it's purple. So like this to me is the loot, and this is my path to the loot. This is my action to get it. So it
Okay.
just the name of the card just didn't quite jive for me. The second thing I was going to say is we threw the kitchen sink and the phone book and the whole kitchen at you tonight, and
Yeah,
um,
I'm quite tired.
and, and it was a huge amount of feedback because it wasn't just little things; it was big item things too. And I was just going to say, if you have anybody that has played the game several times that are like the champions of the game, um, like when you're sifting through this, it's always nice to sift through it with somebody that knows the game really well as well.
Yeah, well, my wife is that person,
Okay.
so
All right. You've got somebody to sift through it.
so that will be easy to do. Yeah,
Okay.
that will be easy to do.
Yeah. Any other feedback from folks? Cool. Yeah. So, um, I normally circle back and say all the nice things I actually liked about your game because I don't focus on that in feedback. But I also don't want to take a ton more of your time. But I really enjoyed it. I love the visuals. I love the basic idea. I think you've got some really cool basic systems. I just want to see them kind of cleaned up a bit, basically. And I think it's really cool. Let's move to just kind of tell us your big takeaways from the playtest, and then we'll all get out of here.
Me?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow, where to start? Yeah, I'll try to be super general here. Since we've been here for so long. Yeah, I agree. I can remove some of the fussy elements. I think a lot of them do exist to support the game as is, and that they do that fairly decently. That said, I'm definitely gonna throw myself into making it a lot simpler and cleaner. I think the icon stuff we discussed is dynamite, and I'm going to be making those changes for sure. I'm going to put a lot of thought into the vending machine loot box stuff we talked about. And yeah, I mean, I've got lots of notes. So let me just, I would definitely like to say I really appreciate it. This is a lot of time from you guys, and I definitely really appreciate it. So I'm going to be thinking about it a lot.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, thanks for sitting through it and
Yeah, thanks for playing.
taking all my feedback. Yeah, I think you got something really cool here. Let's say our good nights. Trevor, where can people find you and support you?
Alcatraz Escape the City on Facebook. There's a group there. You can find a bunch of links in that group to the Zunga webpage and what have you. But biggest thing is you can come and test the game if you want. Just hit me up from Facebook and we'll get on Discord and set up a time if you're into hidden movement and like one versus all games. That's what Alcatraz Escape the City is.
Sasha.
Yeah, Dovecot is the main game that I'm pushing right now. There's Dovecot, the board game Facebook group, and there's also our Discord, S&E Games. So if you're interested in playtesting or just sort of seeing what other designs me and my buddy Eric are doing, that's a good place to sort of check it out. I think there's a link to the Discord in the description of this video. But yeah, that's me.
Ty, give us one more. How can people find you? How can they support you?
I believe you've got a ton of links.
I do.
The most important one is just that I'm always trying to apply this feedback and just make a good game here. So my website's the best place. It's sentientgames.com. Follow along, please, for the newsletter. That's where most of the newest stuff is, and I appreciate everybody helping out. So
awesome. And I'm Evan Halbert. Go buy 87 copies of After the Empire and anything else I ever come out with. I'm in the process of signing 2 games right now, which I'm like super stoked about because it's been a hot freaking minute since I've signed anything. So I'm really excited about that. And I'll tell you guys more about that a little bit later. Let's get out of here. We are, well, thanks Trevor, thanks Sasha as always for coming on, and thanks Ty for coming on and bringing your game. It's been a pleasure. We